repass the tweets. If it's news, if it's nasty, breaks it down. Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out. Scrolling through the chaos, everybody's got a take. But Steve's in the live with the sources on display. No rumors, no drama, no somebody said. Just what's proven, what's solid, what's actually been read. He's calling out the claims, separating real from fake. Cutting through confusion like a clean earthquake. Current events, yeah, he's got that mapped. If it's not verified, it's getting unwrapped. So drop your questions, drop your doubts. Steve's here sorting all the truth from the cloud. No panic, no spin, no agenda to flatter. Just one simple rule, facts still matter. Facts still matter, say it louder, say it louder. Truth cuts through all the noise, that's power. Steve's in the chat with the real-time data. Drop that spin, we'll fact check it later. Facts still matter, yeah, we're keeping receipts. Headlines fine, but we repass the tweets. If it's news, if it's now, Steve breaks it down. Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out.
I still think it's wild that we have a theme song. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, February the 5th, 8 o'clock Eastern time. News and weather together. Glad you're here. We know you got many choices to make every single day, and we're always so grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You know the drill. Thank you for finding us on our backup. Should be back on the main tomorrow. Tapping is clapping. Liking is loving. Sharing is caring. We appreciate you. Don't forget about doing the various things, joining our team. Gifting goal today. Please help us stay on the FYP. Please help us get to the FYP, as this is not our normal home, but it's becoming more comfortable, as they say. What you'll see here, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Day one of our fundraising to support the Do Something to a Roadshow. Your kindness and your generosity brought in $419. Our goal is $25K. Let me just show you. We'll track this and we'll publish it every single day. I think what we'll do is we'll just, at the end of every show, we'll update this and then just continue to share this information out. So I wanted to thank you there. If you want to support us, you can do so at Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Everything is at Factsstillmatter. As we discussed yesterday, we will share every receipt that we use in support of this effort. I'll talk about it a little bit later on this morning, give you a couple more details about what to expect. Just wanted to thank you all for that as well. Head on over to the link tree that's in my bio. You can find the link to our Discord. Please consider joining the Discord. If for some reason the link does not work, copy it, paste it into a URL, and then it will open automatically into Discord. Just follow the verification steps. Or if you get stuck there, you can just reach out to one of our amazing moderators and they will help you out. So thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Oh yeah, actually one more thing. And through the end of the show tomorrow, at the end of the close of business tomorrow, as they say, if you head to the Facts merch store, either at factsstillmatter.site or Facts HQ, you'll see a couple of items that are dedicated to support the Community Action Network in Minnesota. It's canmn.org. Any purchase of those particular items, all proceeds from the sales of those items go directly to support that organization. We'll extend that. We might even just extend it for the rest of the month. Who knows? We'll talk about that. But if you want to pick up those shirts, please do so, and we will make that donation on your behalf. So thank you. Also, I want to let you know about I was part of a live last night. There's this incredible story of Tasha and her family, and you can see the GoFundMe link that's in the link tree that's in my bio. If you want to read about that, there's an opportunity to try to help. It's a sad story about families being separated potentially, and United States foreign policy, and it's complicated. The only way to really tell the story is for you to just read about it. It's the first link that you'll find in the link tree that's in my bio. So again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. Hello. So I'm Steve, Facts. How are you? A few things that I want to cover today. We didn't get to really finish up on the primary sourcing from yesterday, but there's some things I want to touch on because, as you know, I am a fan of the independent press. I'm a fan of good journalism for the most part. And I think that the more and more we, bulldoze our way into this authoritarian state, the more and more we should be concerned. Case in point, there's reporting from NBC that the Washington Post has laid off like 1/3 of its newsroom. Sports coverage, international, Metro, and the paper's podcast among those that are hit the hardest. Of course, Jeff Bezos, no loss there. He owns the Washington Post. But the more assaults we have on journalism, the more difficult it's going to be for us, the communal us, to get a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. As the story reads, The Washington Post announced sweeping layoffs Wednesday, with cuts expected to greatly reduce some coverage areas at the storied 150-year-old newspaper. The wide-ranging job losses primarily affected the sports, books, and podcast units, according to a source familiar with the situation. Foreign desks were also heavily impacted, along with cuts to business and national teams. Roughly one-third of the that was quick. Roughly one-third of the company was affected by the layoffs, a Washington Post spokesperson said, quote, "The Post is taking a number of difficult but decisive actions today for our future in what amounts to a significant restructuring across the company. The Post, which has won dozens of Pulitzers, most famously for Watergate, that led to then President Nixon's resignation in 1974, has been owned since 2013 by Jeff Bezos. Though many American newspapers have struggled financially in recent years, which is true, the print versions, Bezos is the fourth richest person in the world with a net worth of around $260 billion. Again, $260 billion, according to Bloomberg. That hasn't spared the paper from layoffs. The latest round of layoffs follows a 4% staff cut roughly a year ago. Those cuts did not affect the newsroom. In response to the announcement, the Post Guild, which represents hundreds of newsroom employees, said the staff has been reduced by 400 people over the last 3 years. These layoffs are not inevitable. A newsroom cannot be hollowed out without consequences of its credibility, its reach, and its future. The announcement follows recent scrutiny over newsroom budget decisions, including papers shifting plans around covering the Winter Olympics. As first reported by the Times, the paper initially told more than a dozen journalists it would no longer send them to cover the Winter Olympics in Italy, less than 3 weeks before the games were set to begin, which, by the way, opening ceremonies are this weekend, along with the Super Bowl. After the Patriots are playing, I'm not sure if you heard. Anywho, after public criticism, including from prominent sports journalists, the paper reversed course again and now expects to send 4 reporters, NBC News has confirmed. In a statement, former executive editor Marty Barron said Wednesday's announcement, quote, ranks among the darkest days in history of the world of one of the world's great news organizations. Reaction also came in from former Post journalist Ashley Parker, now at The Atlantic, wrote in an op-ed, quote, "We are witnessing a schmurder," and accused the Post management of trying to unalive what makes the paper special. Parker left late in 2024 after the Post abruptly killed its planned presidential endorsement of Democrat Kamala Harris. "The Post wasn't the same paper that had recruited me," wrote Parker, "and she did not want to work for an owner and publisher who couldn't articulate a vision and confused contempt for the newsroom with a business plan." It's really unfortunate. I worked in digital advertising for a few years, and the digital wing was owned by a print publication, a rather well-known print publication. So this has been inevitable. You've seen newsrooms because of, well, you've seen circulation on the print side, of course, be reduced. Who wants to read? I mean, I still, one of the things that I used to love when I was a lot younger was Sunday morning with the New York Times. Do the crossword puzzle, read the editorial pages, something. I just don't do it anymore. It's just not part of how I consume news these days. But it's just sad, right? You're going to continue to see these assaults. And sure, we may not like the homogenization of network news, but journalism is what's being impacted. So we'll keep our eye on that. You're going to start to see more offshoots. You're going to see more people creating these news networks. Support your independent journalists, please. It's really, really important. It's extremely important. Make sure you're researching, the exercise we went through, like what's a primary source, who the sources are they reputable? Just got to pay attention, because first of all, one of the biggest lies told the American people is that they think that there's left-wing news agencies. Listen, network news in our country has always been conservative. It's by design. They never wanted to invoke controversy. It's always been conservative. So, it's right in the middle of the Overton window, right? It's just like right there. So for people to say, oh, this liberal news, so it's just not true. You can have liberal leaning editorial pages. You can have liberal leaning reporters. You can have liberal leaning storylines, which is where our bias comes in. But by and large, news coverage, especially at the network level, has always been conservative. In our mind, folks, the biggest cable news network is Fox. So let's be submissive with your bullshit. You don't have to buy it, Jim. You can just research it yourself. I don't care. You don't Jim Tucker 07. Don't take my word for it. Just research it. Do a little bit of research. just do a little bit of research. You can go to Media Bias Fact Check and you can research any news agency you want, and they will tell you the same thing. They'll all tell you the same thing. So you doubt that mainstream, it doesn't lean left. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. You can, again, let me clarify. Just because you have stories that and editorials that might lean left does not mean that their coverage leans left. Do a comparison. Well, fuck it, we'll do it real time. Wasn't planning on doing this, but we'll do it real time right now. We'll do it real time right now. Okay. Wasn't going to do this today, but for those of you in the back. So one of the things that I use, because in my day job, I am required to, when I provide content for speeches or whatever that might be for a lot of my clients, fact checking is incredibly important. So when I see a source, I have to go and determine the validity of the source. So let's pick some of the most divisive news entities in our country. The right likes to criticize CNN. I don't watch CNN. I don't like their programming, and I've never been a fan. I just don't like the way they package it. I think it's bullshit. So let's just use that one as a tester. All right. Hold on a second. Okay. So you can just enter the news entity that you're looking for. You can follow along at home. So from a bias perspective, what you're looking for is factual reporting, okay? Because everybody has a bias. So yes, CNN leads left because of their editorial content, not from their reporting content. Mostly factual. Overall, we rate CNN moderately left based on editorial positions by TV hosts that consistently favor the left, while straight news reporting falls left of center, if not center, through bias by omission. We also rate them as factual in reporting rather than high due to 2 failed fact checks in the last 5 years, which is exactly what I said. It's about the factual nature of it. Compare that to, let's go to Fox. Let's go to Fox News. Let's just run this filter real quick. This is the whole point of this exercise. Like I said, I didn't really want to go down this road today, but I will. Okay, hold on a second. And again, I'll remind you, the biggest news agency, the biggest cable news network is Fox. Here's the same filter. Again, Media Bias Fact Check. You can do this yourself. Here we go. Fox is very low, rated low factually and far right. You understand the difference, right? And people don't. Overall, we rate Fox News far right biased based on editorial positions that align with the right and questionable due to the promotion of state propaganda, conspiracy theories, pseudoscience, the use of poor sources, and numerous failed fact checks. While straight news reporting for the beat reporters is generally fact-based and accurate, it is typically overshadowed by propagandistic opinions, which earns them a low factual rating. You understand the difference? Editorial positions will take a bias. It's about the news. So for people to say that the media is left-leaning is absolutely inaccurate. It's just not a factual statement. Editorial content, sure, because we all have bias. Now you might have reporters or talking heads on your network that might lean more left, or might lean more right. The entire point is that if you're going to get a trusted news source, if you want to identify a news source, and again, I'll remind you, Fox is the largest network news source. They rank low factually and far right from their story selection. So I'm sorry to tell you that. So I'm sorry to tell you, these same people think Google is a source. I missed my opportunity. These same people think Google is a source. Exactly. So anyway, you can do the research yourself. Go to MediaBiasFactCheck.com. Media Bias Fact Check is a self-funded. Thank you, Sam. All they do is report on the accuracy of stories. That's it. They're represented by independents, Republicans, Democrats. It's apolitical. They literally just report on story accuracy. You can research it yourself. Go ahead. You're not going to find these far left leaning news entities compared to the dozens you'll find on the right. Let's do another one real quick, just out of curiosity, because this network is also gaining a lot of traction lately. Hold on. Let's do Newsmax. This one's even worse. This is Newsmax. Okay, it's the same filter. All you have to do is pick the news entity that you want to research. You couldn't go further right, okay? Similarly, low and from a factual reporting perspective, we rate Newsmax right biased and questionable based on the promotion of conspiracy theories and pseudoscience, as well as numerous failed fact checks. Conspiracy theories, pseudoscience, propaganda, fake news, failed fact checks, low credibility, and low factual reporting. Newsmax is an American conservative biased news opinion and website founded by Christopher Ruddy in 1998 and based in West Palm Beach, Florida. Christopher Ruddy is the president and CEO of Newsmax. According to an Atlantic article, Ruddy is also a close friend of Donald Trump. Shocker! The website is divided into 4 main sections: Newsmax, Newsmax Health, Newsmax Finance, and Newsmax World. Divided into various subsections, Newsmax Media also operates a print magazine called Newsmax and the cable news channel Newsmax TV. On April 30th, 2021, Newsmax apologized to Dominion Voting Systems for claims that they manipulated voting machines and counts to thwart the re-election of President Trump. The statement reads, quote, Newsmax has found no evidence that Dr. Coomer interfered with Dominion voting machines or voting software in any way, nor that Dr. Coomer ever claimed to have done so. It was said in a statement, quote, nor has Newsmax found any evidence that Dr. Coomer ever participated in any conversations with members of Antifa, nor that he was directly involved with any partisan political organization. And I will remind you, who has been sued for $787 million, or settled for $787 million? Okay, so again, you may not like it. You may sit here. The reason that you think that there's these leftist news organizations is because you've been told there are. So good luck with that. Anyway, I think it's really important that we remind ourselves that the press is under an assault. What's the website again? It's MediaBiasFactCheck.com. MediaBias, BIAS, FactCheck.com. So there you go. Okay, so I want to talk about this situation with Tulsi Gabbard. Actually, before we do that, let me just give you a couple of updates. There was a tease that Madam Vice President has reactivated her social feeds, the Kamala HQ social feeds. I don't know how to read into it. I think that's the entire point. She postponed a planned stop in Colombia on her 107 days book tour this week due to some scheduling issues. She recently reactivated her old Kamala HQ campaign social account, posting a cryptic message hinting at an announcement, which has reignited speculation about a potential future political bid. Some Democratic insiders remain skeptical about her electoral appeal, viewing her as a politically divisive figure after the 2024 election loss. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Talk about that at some point. Harris served as the 49th vice president, as you know. Harris's old president. This is from Tyla. It's just the story that I found. Harris's old presidential campaign account, Kamala HQ on X and Instagram, silent since 2024, just posted its first message in over a year with a cryptic video teaser. You can watch the video for yourself. This account reactivation is notable because it's being interpreted as the launch of a new phase in her political engagement after a long public quiet period. Political analysts and many supporters see it as a possible soft relaunch of her political presence or an official hint at something bigger. Many comments and reactions on social media from Harris supporters are assuming this means that she may be gearing up for a 2028 presidential run or another large political initiative. We will see. I don't know. I think the timing would track, right? You know, we're into that. We're heading towards the midterms. One of the criticisms is that she didn't have enough time for a campaign, and I think that's true. I think she's got a tough road because she's still going to be connected to Joe Biden, and she's still going to be connected to, questions about how much she knew about Joe's health. I think it's a tough road. I really think it's a tough road. And I want to see an active primary. If she does put her hat in the ring, she's still, in my opinion, the most qualified person to ever run for the presidency. Nothing is going to change that. I just think it's going to be a tough road for her just because of that. And I think the right will use that. They will use the anchor of the Biden presidency They'll make claims similar mistakes that the Biden administration made regarding the economy. The Trump administration is making now, right? Telling people things are fine. A lot different. A lot different. The Biden administration talked about the inflation rate coming down, which happened, right? There's no doubt about it. But it cost them at the polls because people looked at their paychecks, people looked at the cost of items, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Similarly, what's happening now, the Trump administration, they're basically telling people that, oh yeah, this affordability thing, it's a hoax. Affordability is a total fucking hoax. We'll see. Obviously, we'll keep our eyes peeled on that. Okay, so one of the things that I don't think is being, well, I'm not going to say it's not being covered enough. One of the connections to this entire, scandal, and don't forget, as we did a little exercise in primary sourcing yesterday, we had a statement from the Oversight Committee on their official.gov page that they said that the auto pen was the single biggest political scandal in U.S. history. Okay, that's fine. What we're seeing now is they keep changing how, by the way, it's day 48 of the Department of Justice breaking the law. What we're seeing now is items being posted, then taken down, manipulation to the data sources. It's all over the place. It's pervasive. The law required the DOJ to release everything. We know that's not happened. The DOJ was required to retract the names of survivors. We know that they've not done that. We know that they weren't supposed to post any images regarding CSAM. They've done that. So it's been an absolute shit show. And of course, the defenders on the right, the people that are protecting predators, don't care. So I don't know if he said that, Angie. Anyway, okay. So my point is, to me, a lot of this that's been uncovered, or I should say not covered enough, right? Undercovered, I should say. It's been the financial connections. We know how deep JE's financial network was. So keep in mind, he was a financier. That's kind of how he became prominent in these circles, moving money. And as we know, people just, where there's money, there's more money. And then you started hearing conversations about deep connections to Israeli money and Middle Eastern money and Russian money. So this was shared with me this morning, and thank you, Cookie, for sending it. This is a person, he's a comedian, but I think I want you to listen to how he talks about this story because it's really, really true. His name is Sammy Obeid Comedy, Sammy Obeid Comedy. And he's talking about how, because there's been rumors about whether or not JE was an agent of Mossad or a Russian asset, right? And then we had this reporting from this 4chan post that was part of the JE files that someone who was in the jail saw JE being moved under the cover of darkness the night before and his body being replaced. There was talk about Mossad connection to Charlie Kirk's death, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so, this is the challenge we all face because I've told you guys that I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am just not. I research diligently. I'll try to uncover what people are talking about and I'll figure out where this comes from. So I'm just not a conspiracy theorist. But because there is so much information that has been just fire hosed to us, right? It's hard to try to separate what's bona fide conspiracy and what's the truth, because within every conspiracy is just a grain of truth, just enough to kind of, pique someone's interest. Let's talk about Pizzagate. Right? From Q. We know that some of the data that came out in the e-files was code. People were talking about pizza orders. So we know that had some legs to it, right? We talk about how there was this global cabal of a P3DO ring, right? I think what the Q folks thought, it was headed up by Hillary Clinton and others, right? In these factory stores underneath pizza shops in DC where they were drinking adrenochrome, right? Anyway, so it's just weird when you start to look at it that way. I'm just going to play this sound for you because I really like the way that he breaks this down. It's a combination of satire, comedy, not satire, and just, you can decide for yourself.
Worked for intelligence, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was Mossad. I can't say it too much. I don't want to get into legal trouble. Let's just say he enjoyed massages. He was not good to women. He was a misogynist. Don't hate me for delivering the massage, okay? I'm going to prove it formally tonight. I had the privilege of taking an accounting class in college. Anybody here take an accounting class? Oh, equal number of people on both sides. You got the debits on the left, credits on the right. You learn about this thing called the accounting equation. Very creative name. Assets equals liabilities plus equities. The total assets of a person.
So assets, remember this for later. Assets equal liabilities plus equity. That tracks basic economics, right?
Person or a company is equal to the sum of all the liabilities they have, the debt plus the equity they have, the stock. That's a little life hack if you want to increase your net worth. Rack up a ton of debt and sell stock in yourself. Epstein, he got rich all of a sudden after his teaching job, because it doesn't pay apparently. And he became a consultant, which is not a real job. I'm sorry, guys. If that offends any consultants in here. Let's talk after the show. You can bill me after. Great business model you have. This is when he started to be introduced to very high-profile people. One person he notably worked with, Adnan Khashoggi, a figure in Saudi Arabia, worked together to finance the Iran-Contra affair, where Israel was funneling weapons into Iran to stir up a regime change, which is not relevant to now at all. He had to work directly with Israeli intelligence, so clearly he was introduced to Mossad. He got even richer when he met Leslie Wexner, the CEO of Victoria's Secret, which a perv would want to work with. Leslie Wexner had a lot of stock with Israel and Israel's economy. When Epstein started to work with him, he suddenly got a lot richer. Then Epstein was introduced to Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's accomplice in the whole sex trafficking scandal. And they say Ghislaine's in jail. I don't even think Ghislaine's in jail. I actually bumped into her at the store last week. She was like, "Pardon me." I was like, "No, thank you." Ghislaine Maxwell, who is the daughter of Robert Maxwell, a known Mossad asset. He died of natural causes, mysteriously fell off his yacht one day. And suddenly Epstein got very rich shortly after. So again, nothing to see here. We know that the money he used for this operation was leveraged by Israel. At the same time, he became acquainted with a lot of very powerful people who were associated with Israel. For instance, former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. Not Ehud Barack Obama, that's a different. He's actually...
I've got some sound of J.E. and Ehud Barak in a conversation that I'll play for you in just a bit.
Seen many times on camera approaching Epstein's apartment and walking in, and he would always wear a mask. And this was pre-COVID. This was trying to hide. This guy got caught on camera going into Epstein's house only to be recorded on more cameras. Also, Bill Clinton, a lot of pictures of Clinton with Epstein. It's not a good look. Clinton, obviously, very tied to Israel. He was brokering all those deals in the 90s. Alan Dershowitz, who's Israel's lawyer, also Epstein's lawyer. All of these people, as soon as they started hanging out with Epstein, Israel started to distance themselves because these people posed a reputational risk for Israel, which says a lot. If you're threatening Israel's reputation, you've really f***ed up. Here's why we know that Epstein was an Israeli asset. Epstein got all of his money having stock in Israel, and he knew all these people who were liabilities to Israel. And liabilities plus equity equals assets. Epstein was an Israeli asset. I know, there's a lot of information I'm accounting for.
I know that there's some comedy involved there, but when you really start to break it down, I mean, my gosh, you talk about the relationships that Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert, was deeply connected to Mossad, and then he fell off his boat. Nothing to see here. You know, we've got...
A little ditty, 8 a.m. Central on Saturdays. You'll see Rooted, which is Mike. We got Patriot Girl, which is Heidi. We got Miss Ashley, who is, absolutely amazing with Verse of the Day, and the entire studio set up for Pawpaw's lives. And we come on, and it's a discipleship fellowship, right? We are all just a community of folks that are there to read and discuss the word, and learn together, walk together. This Saturday is kind of cool. What we're going to be doing is aha moments in the Bible. So, I guess kind of goes along with sort of like this, right? So, the stories in the Bible where, people might have been so blind to something, right? The scales over the eyes or what have you. And then just, everything all of a sudden became clear. So, join us. We have a great time. It's a fun time. Usually, I know I walk away, having learned something and taken something into the next week. So we'd love to have you join us, 8 a.m. Central on Saturdays.
Now, are you still doing kind of like a 13-week, and then you start kind of back over, or is this kind of morphed into something different? I think when y'all first started, you were kind of getting your hands on what curriculum you're going to use and the process and all that. Has it changed?
It's changed the fact. So Mike and I, in particular, I won't loop Heidi into his and I nonsense, but Mike and I are real bad about squirrels. So we'll latch onto a topic, and this is sort of similar to how I used to do my lives. I'd latch onto a topic that I heard throughout the week or that stuck out to me from a conversation or something I had, and that's sort of what we talk about. So and Mike can chime in differently on Saturday if I'm wrong, but I just sort of think. Something kind of calls to us like, hey, this is something a lot of people are struggling with or asking about, and we sort of roll with it. So,
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man.
yeah, we're excited about it. And, we hope the folks that join us are too.
What did Mike say here?
Oh, Lord.
No, new stuff every week. Curriculum question.
Nobody has ever, they've called Mike a lot of things, but nobody ever called him a professor. That's for sure.
I'm going to see if he can join us for just a second. They're saying Kelly's not going live because she's not feeling well. Let's see if old Funky Monkey. Y'all going to have to walk with me.
I'm not driving. I'm parked.
And we're back. Everybody tap like crazy. So we have to add certain criticisms to the list of things that we can't talk about. But yeah, we're back. Everybody help us out, please. Tap like crazy. We'll move on from that subject. I was cooking, damn it. Okay, from now on, I'm going to talk about cows, rainbows, flowers, and maple syrup. Okay. Yeah. Good call, Jess. Thank you. Keep in mind, friends, we stream on YouTube and on Twitch. And worst comes to worst, it will be an abbreviated version of our show. I will just stream it from YouTube if that's what happens, right? So everybody hang in there, but I do need your help getting back out to the FYP, friends. So tap like crazy, gift like crazy. There you go. Yeah, well, we have to fire it back up again because this is our main feed. So we source to YT, and then anyway. I'm going to let folks sort of develop a little bit of, or help us get some traction. So yes, yeah, he didn't like that. Exactly. So I'll avoid that controversy. Everybody help us out here. Thank you, friends. Appreciate you guys coming back. You guys are super loyal. I appreciate you all so very much. Appreciate you guys. Let me fix that. All right. I'll pin that one. Thank you, guys. Yeah, nothing to see here. Love the TikTok shop. Nothing to see here. We're totally fine. It's all good. All good. Timo, not today, friend. Appreciate you. Give you a lot of time. Give you a lot of space. Not today. Mods, I've been gracious with Timo, but please, if he continues to request, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, friends. Appreciate you. Okay. Well, we're getting back. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Okay, let's pivot. Let's do that. We can easily just change the direction. I guess we'll see what happens because I'm not going to stop talking about it because it is 48 days since the Trump administration's DOJ has been breaking the law. I think what I'll do is I'm going to shift gears a little bit because one of the things we need to be talking about is not just the midterms for the House, because I think the more and more you see it, and by the way, the Supreme Court literally yesterday in a very short abbreviated decision voted in ruled in favor of California's newly drawn maps, which of course the right's going to say, oh, rigged. They're going to say rigged judges. Well, it's the Supreme Court. It's a conservative Supreme Court. And you'll recall the way that whole thing went down was Texas not supporting the will of the people. The legislature made the decision to redraw their maps. We've seen what's happened since, massive swings in the Democratic populace there. So California responded. California said, we'll make this a ballot measure. Okay, we'll make it a ballot measure. We'll let the people decide, and the people I think it was Prop 50, right? Overwhelmingly decided to redraw the maps, and Republicans are freaking the fuck out. they know that they're, under normal conditions, it would be an absolute bloodbath. I mean, there are people that are making these predictions that it could be a 25 or 30 seat swing. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm really starting to look at the Senate. I think you're seeing Graham Plattner in Maine outraise Susan Collins. She's a cat with 9 lives. How many lives does she have left? Interesting, though, because she's always tried to distance herself from the visual connections to Donald Trump. There was this meeting in the Oval Office yesterday, and she's there with a new, America is back red hat in her hand. And photographers caught that image, and I think that people will start to use that because she's always been one of those. She's been one of the few voices that has ever said anything negative about the administration. I don't know if that means that. Hang on a second. Yes, she's been very, again, cat in a room full of rocking chairs. She's been able to avoid a lot of that publicity. I don't know if it's going to last, but we'll see. So anyway, the Senate race in Maine, I think, is really, really winnable. I think the Senate race in North Carolina is really, really winnable because Roy Cooper is extremely popular. And I would not be surprised. If you see a Tom Tillis endorsement for Roy Cooper. I wouldn't be surprised. So that's 2. And then you get other states like Alaska. Alaska is suddenly in play. Alaska, of all things. Mary Peltola, who was the one representative in the House. Remember, she destroyed Sarah Palin. Don't forget ranked choice voting in Alaska. I think that race is winnable. That would be a surprise coming out of nowhere. And there's a few others, like Ohio, Sherrod Brown. He's trailing in the polling right now, but he's a popular guy there. And he's always been able to cross party lines and attract a lot of voters. Ohio is one of the areas that I want to go to on the Do Something tour. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. And then there's Texas, right? And And you've got a lot of strong candidates down there. And I think it's great that James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett are debating. I think it's interesting that they're just different people. They're obviously very different people, which is what you want, but they're addressing the issues that Texas voters want to hear. So you get Ted. All right. So we're going to spend a little time talking about Ted right now, as a matter of fact, because Ted has always been one of those people who, when the weather turns cold, Ted disappears. And he has said some very interesting things of late, right? And I think we're going to call some of it out. So this was a famous statement that he made a while back. And I want you to listen to this first. And I think we all know what he meant, but what he said is something different.
Logically, this pattern keeps on happening. Now, Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape?
Okay.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, Raphael, what did you say?
Pattern keeps on happening.
What was that?
Now, Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement.
What?
How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders?
Okay.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape?
Okay, great.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? And tragically, this...
I'm sorry, what? So, my marketing promotion brain fires. I wouldn't even, you know what I would do? I would put either Tallarico or Crockett for Senate above the screen, and I would just play that on loop. I would just play that on loop. There's your campaign. Okay? So that's one statement. Now he is out there. There was the executive from Netflix was during a Senate hearing. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And Ted's going through his questioning because Ted's a whiny little bitch. Now, I have a special place in my heart for Mike Johnson because he is the bitch boy of bitch boys. But Ted is looking for a seat in the throuple. He really wants to be part of the throuple because Ted is a whiny little bitch. There's no doubt about it. Ted Cruz is not a stupid person. He is Ivy League educated. Oh, God damn it. Okay. Guys, I need your help. I just need your help. We're getting restrictions, and the likelihood of us losing the live today is probably real, but I'm not gonna be suppressed. I'm just gonna do what we do here. So tap like crazy, like crazy, gift like crazy. Just as a reminder, we are still raising funds to try to hit our 25K goal to do our Do Something tour. So if you want to support the channel, you can do so through Cash App, through PayPal, through Venmo. Thank you very, very much. So this is Ted. And he's interviewing the person from Netflix, and listen to him whine.
Range of programming on HBO. Name one program that is designed to appeal to conservatives.
We don't design our programming to appeal to
I can think of a lot that are designed to go to liberals. Name one.
None of our shows are designed to go to any political group. They're designed to appeal to.
Really, John Oliver's not designed to appeal to a certain group?
It's a program that. For which there's.
You just said none of your program is it. Look, let me ask you: do you think CNN is fair and balanced?
I do believe CNN is a fair.
So when CNN showed riots and fires behind them, and you put a chyron, mostly peaceful but fiery protest, was that journalism?
Sir, I'm not involved with CNN.
You have a wide range of.
Oh my gosh, he's such a whiny little biatch, right? Who's speaking code? Oh, thank you. That's cool. Okay, and then there was this series of little things. I'm gonna build the story first. So there's a MAGA influencer. I don't even want to give credit to her name because she's just crazy. But I want you to hear a couple of things, and then Ted sort of doubled down on the same line of questioning. So I'll play this sound first. Hang on one second.
All those liberals saying that this land belongs to the indigenous people. I have one question for you. Do you know a purebred 100% indigenous person living in the U.S. today? And I mean mixed with nothing, because you're saying it belongs to the indigenous people, so it needs to be a 100% indigenous person. You know that? No, you don't know that. Because this land was conquered, settled, and colonized. So no, that doesn't mean that modern day, and I'm talking modern day, Mexican citizens can break modern day immigration and border laws. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't. Because there's no such thing as a 100% indigenous person anymore. There's not. There's not. There's not.
So she's probably never heard of reservations. She's probably never heard of that. She's so wrong on multiple points. Here's the problem with that. Not only was it disgusting and vile, but Mr. Cruz decided to jump into that same debate, shockingly.
Did either of y'all watch the Grammys this week?
I did not.
Just the tail end of
it. One simple question. Are we right now on stolen land?
I have no idea the history of this land, of this where we're sitting today.
You don't?
Nor do I, Senator.
So that speaks volumes that neither of you are willing to say, hell no, we're not on stolen land. And I will say at the Grammys, when you see an entertainer say, nobody is illegal while we're on stolen land, and then you see entertainers leap to their feet clapping so excitedly at the notion that America is fundamentally illegitimate, it starts to convey that the entertainment world is deeply corrupt. And I will point out that same singer who says no one is illegal on stolen land promptly went back to her $14 million mansion, and somehow that stolen land she wasn't concerned about, just the United States of America. Actually, I want to ask.
Okay. So part of the push from the right is that when we talk about how we are on stolen land, and I'll get into that in just a moment, is that they don't look at anything other than their hatred when it comes to the brown population and the indigenous cultures and immigrants by and large. Yes, we are absolutely on stolen land. No doubt about it. Now, I understand that there's rhetoric connected to it, but it doesn't change the facts. It doesn't change the facts that we came in, we being European white people, and fucking stole shit. And then committed G-sides across the indigenous population who built this fucking country. Okay? The colonizers came in and stole it. All right? And we know this to be true because I was just curious about, hang on one second. We have indigenous tribes all over our country, all over the place. Approximately 326 federally recognized. Listen, I'm going to get into this, but I want people to understand that I am absolutely aware. I'm surrounded by an indigenous population. I'll get into it in just a moment, but I'm absolutely aware of the fact that the colonizers, the G-siders, created these reservations. Okay, I am addressing the fact that this MAGA influencer and Ted Cruz then to come out and say we're not on stolen land, and then her hatred saying you show me one purebred Mexican, one purebred indigenous person, okay? Exactly, not that, Dana. Trail of Tears, anyone? Exactly. Approximately 326 federally recognized native reservations, lands held in trust or tribes, are currently administered by the U.S. federal government. These include traditional reservations, pueblos, rancherias, and other designated tribal lands. Some reservations are home to multiple tribes, and some other tribes govern more than one reservation. Not every federally recognized tribe has its own reservation. Many tribes historically lost land or never had a defined reservations. Interesting. A few non-reservation tribal lands do exist, like land trusts, tribal villages, and the Alaska Native areas, which aren't always counted in the reservation total. There are 574 federally recognized Native American tribes in Alaska, and Alaskan Native entities in the U.S., but only a portion of them have reservation land. Okay, California has 100 plus, Oklahoma between 40 and 50, Arizona between 25 and 30, New Mexico has around 20, and then Washington State has around 30. Other states have notable reservation presence like South Dakota, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, Nevada, and Alaska. Some states don't federally recognize their own tribes, including West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vermont. Vermont has an interesting distinction because the federal government refused to recognize the Abnack tribe, which dominates our state, and the Missisquoi tribe, which dominates our state. The state has then recognized them. So the state of Vermont recognized these tribes because the federal government would not. Hat tip to the state of Vermont. Point being is that we are abso-fucking-lutely on stolen fucking land. Once again, conservatives want to rewrite history. Ted Cruz is of Cuban descent. Ted Cruz is a smart person. For him to say that in a Senate hearing and whine because Grammy performers put their hand up. Sorry, that Grammy performers put their hand up and say we are on stolen land and people applauded. Natalie, you're absolutely right. It's down. It's fucking bullshit. We are abso-fucking-lutely on stolen fucking land. Okay? So it turns into this immigration debate because conservatives don't give a fuck. They just don't care. Again, they were here first. We came in and colonized the shit. We came in and committed atrocities against the indigenous population, and people still think to this day that white people talk about land bridges and Viking tribes and all kinds. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. That's your argument? Oh no, we were here first? I've heard literally people say that we were here first. Really? We were here first? ever seen in the midterm elections, fucking Ted out of the Senate. How about we do that? How about we push on that so fucking hard to get that pathetic piece of shit out of the fucking Senate? Now, I don't think he's up for election. He might be. I don't even know at this point. I should look into that. If he's up this fall or if he's up in 2028, I don't know. I want that pathetic piece of fucking shit out of fucking Texas. He's not till 2028. Okay. I think it's John Cornyn, right? Exactly. Yeah, that is correct. So Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett fighting for the Democratic nomination to go against John Cornyn. Either way, Texas is winnable. Texas is winnable. I think Florida is potentially winnable. Keep in mind, the map is such that 53 currently Republicans, 47 Democrats. You flip 3 seats. My future wife, even though she doesn't know it, Mallory McMorrow, is also running. She's gonna. That's maintaining seats in the Senate is one thing. Adding seats to the Senate is something else. And I really, really, really think it's in play. I think the Senate's in play. We'll see. Okay, I think we've sufficiently dunked on. Mr. Cruz this morning. Now I want to talk a little bit about. I know you love her, but I love her more. She doesn't know that, but I love her more. Brains again, sapiosexual here. So let's talk a little bit now about this situation with Tulsi Gabbard. In case you didn't know, well, 2 things. And I kind of laid out my own little conspiracy theory yesterday, right? Tulsi Gabbard is the Director of National Intelligence, DNI. Her job is to focus on threats outside the country, not inside the country. So why was she there? Why was she in Georgia? Why was she trying to hide? Why was she in Georgia? I don't know. I don't know why she's in Georgia. Because she's trying to create this scenario that there was outside influences connected to the 2020 election. These are my theories alone, okay? We love the TikTok shop. You remember, one of the conspiracy theories connected to 2020 was that Hugo Chavez was influential. The president said that, even though he had been dead like 7 years. Insert Nicolas Maduro. Insert Nicolas Maduro sitting in a jail cell. Insert the waving of a pardon in his face if you just sign here stating that your country was involved in this fraudulent election. We love the TikTok shop. And then insert Tulsi Gabbard. All of a sudden, you're starting to connect the dots about this foreign influence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now there's this whistleblower complaint. I'm going to play a little bit of sound for you about this reporting, and then I'll talk about it a little bit more. Here you go.
An unnamed U.S. intelligence official has accused Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard of wrongdoing. The whistleblower also is not allowing Congress and the whistleblower's own lawyer from seeing it. This was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. The complaint was reportedly filed 8 months ago with the U.S. intelligence community watchdog office. The whistleblower's own lawyer says he hasn't been able to see it because the information is considered highly sensitive. A spokeswoman for Gabbard's office confirmed the complaint concerned Gabbard, but dismissed it as baseless and politically motivated and denied any wrongdoing. Let's bring in Andrew Bakai. He's the whistleblower's lawyer. Andrew, thanks so much for being with us. So your client is accusing the Director of National Intelligence of trying to cover up this allegation. Can you break that down for us?
Actually, what's interesting in this particular case is that my client's disclosure, this individual filed a disclosure back in April of last year. And took some, I'm sorry, I got some feedback from somebody just now.
Not sure what that is. Okay. Sorry.
All right. So back in April, our client filed a disclosure with the Intelligence Committee Inspector General. It took some time for the decision to be made as to whether or not it would be urgent or credible for immediate dissemination to Capitol Hill. But that's irrelevant because our client, once they were notified by the Intelligence Community IG that a decision was made that they could not determine the credibility of the disclosure because somebody refused to cooperate with the initial investigation. But if taken to be true that it would be urgent, our client requested to have this transmitted to Capitol Hill. That is the law. That is what Tulsi Gabbard should have done. That's what everybody's talking about right now. But really what's at play is the underlying complaint, the underlying disclosure that's being withheld from the Hill involves, the subject is Tulsi Gabbard.
And we don't know the nature of that complaint. Is that right?
Well, we don't know the specific nature of the complaint. I have not seen the complaint because it's so highly sensitive. Now, the Director of National Intelligence in her office is saying because it is so highly classified that it's challenging to figure out how to get this to Congress.
Okay. So that kind of lays it out for you. Well, there's an update on that because we got reporting last night that the Congress has received a redacted version of the whistleblower complaint against Gabbard. So it went to the Gang of Eight. So before I get into the story, let me just bring you up to speed as to what the Gang of Eight actually is. All right. So in case you don't know, the Gang of Eight is a bipartisan group of 8 senior members of Congress, 4 from the House and 4 from the Senate, who are legally entitled to receive the most sensitive classified intelligence briefings, often information that even most lawmakers don't see. Okay. So the current membership in the Gang of Eight would be Mike Johnson, bitch boy, Hakeem Jeffries. So it's the majority leader, it's the Speaker of the House and the majority leader in the House. So in this case, it'd be Mike Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries. House Intelligence Committee, the chairperson would be Rick Crawford from Arkansas. He's the chair. Jim Hines, a Democrat from Connecticut. He's the ranking member. Senate leadership, John Thune, majority leader, and then Chuck Schumer, minority leader, and then the Intelligence Committee chairperson, which is Tom Cotton, Republican from Arkansas. Sorry, Arkansas. You got Rick Crawford and Tom Cotton. Oh, boy. And then Mark Warner, who's a Democrat from Virginia. He is the vice chair. So it's those 8 people, right? Those are the people that are supposed to be notified. There's been some challenges with getting this group notified, right? And I'll talk about that in just a second. So back to this story. So that group has now been notified. Now, you don't bring the Gang of Eight in on something unless it's kind of there's a lot of shit going on that other people can't see. Yeah, we absolutely need some women on that committee. I agree. It's all 8 men. I'm glad you said that. I am really, really glad you said that because that's part of what I wanted to talk about today. So the people that are involved, it has to do with chairpersonship. The Democrats have to own this stuff too. Why are there no women? We can't currently have leadership in the House because we don't have the minority or don't have the majority. But when we take the Senate and when we take the House, my expectation is that we have women in leadership positions. Okay? Everybody agreed? The matriarchy? Let's go. So this is a story. So the Wall Street Journal reported on this. The Trump administration has disclosed to select lawmakers, again, the Gang of Eight, a classified government whistleblower complaint against spy chief Tulsi Gabbard. Her office announced this week, but significant portions were redacted due to claims of executive privilege. So executive privilege would then mean the executive. So this whistleblower complaint is so egregious and so damning that it had to be kept in a safe, and it wasn't disclosed until now under whistleblower rules and regulations, right? There are claims that it was redacted because of executive privilege, so that you can only draw one conclusion, that it involves the president. That's what executive privilege is. No one else gets to claim it. No one else gets to cite it. No one in the executive branch gets to make the claim. Only the president can. Only the office of the presidency can. The redactions have concealed names of individuals as well as other information that makes the full meaning and significance of the complaint difficult to decipher. One of the people said some of the allegations within the complaint also appeared to be speculative. Again, that's why you investigate. The Wall Street Journal reported that the complaint against Gabbard was filed with the Intelligence Community's Inspector General last May, but stalled for 8 months within Gabbard's office of the NDI. Her office had not shared it with Congress until this week after the Journal's report. Whistleblower complaints are supposed to be investigated. This wasn't. Why? In a memo sent to lawmakers on Monday and posted online by Gabbard's office, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, Chris Fox, wrote that the whistleblower had alleged that Gabbard had restricted the sharing of a specific, highly classified intelligence report for political purposes. A spokeswoman for Gabbard's office has dismissed the allegations against Gabbard as baseless and politically motivated. That's the script, right? Claims that come out that look bad, They're baseless and they're politically motivated. Sure, no problem. And said that the claims pertaining to Gabbard were deemed by the former acting inspecting general to be not credible. We'll see. Representatives for Gabbard's office referred questions about the redactions to the White House, which didn't immediately respond to requests for comment Wednesday. The IG's office also didn't respond to a request for comment. U.S. intelligence officials are treating the material with the utmost secrecy, as they should, contending that disclosures of the underlying intelligence report at issue could severely damage national security? Really? Interesting, Tulsi, that you show up in Georgia when it's not even your job. Why have you not been investigating this? If it is such a threat to national security, then why aren't you sharing it? Oh, I got it. Executive privilege. Nothing to see here, I'm sure. Wall Street Journal has not been able to learn the substance of the underlying intelligence that is contained within the complaint. The use of executive privilege to seal substantial portions of an intelligence complaint is highly unusual. You think? Quote, executive privilege generally refers to the power of the president to withhold confidential information or private discussions from Congress or the judicial branch on the grounds that a president needs to be able to have candid conversations with officials within the executive branch. It has on occasion been extended to apply to communications of senior White House aides. The complaint included a second allegation beyond the Gabbard assertion. In the Monday memo, Fox disclosed that the whistleblower also alleged that lawyers at an unidentified intelligence agency, quote, failed to report a potential crime to the Justice Department, also for political purposes. The memo does not supply specific information about either allegation. It notes that the former acting inspector general at the time the complaint was filed, Tamara Johnson, initially determined that she could not assess the credibility of either allegation, but later determined the allegations about Gabbard weren't credible in her opinion. It also said the watchdog's office, quote, administratively closed its case last June and ceased all further investigations. Why? Why? It's a trend, right? You don't want to shine a light on things when it looks bad, which is why we're at 48 days of the Department of Justice violating the federal law, releasing any and all documents connected to the e-files, including why things were redacted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing to see here, though, right? It's totally fine. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. We'll follow this story, right? We'll follow this story because, again, this is what journalism does. This is why we need journalists. This is why this kind of stuff. This is why the current administration doesn't want journalists covering these stories, right? Part of why they don't want the stories disclosed, and I've seen the chirping in this. I'm sure the chirping in the chat this morning about this topic. Oh, just a witch hunt. Tulsi Gabbard did nothing wrong. That explained to me why Tulsi Gabbard's office was hiding this information when we have a whistleblower process. That's what inspectors generals do. Don't you think it's interesting? And do you think it's just a coincidence that the Trump administration removed like a dozen or so IGs? IG's job is to investigate the agency of which they have purview over. So if you have nothing to hide, if you are the most transparent administration ever, then why does this shit just keep popping up? Why? Why does this stuff just keep showing up randomly? Nothing to see, right? Okay. We'll track this story. We'll continue to follow it. I want to go back. I had some sound that I wanted to play about certain people. Well, I think I can do it without. So one of the names that keeps showing up, speaking about disclosure and transparency, one of the names that keeps showing up, the president keeps using, is Larry Summers, right? He has been critical of Larry Summers. Larry Summers has been connected to the e-files. Fuck it, I'm going to play the sound. We go down. I wonder why the president has been so angry about Larry Summers, or the fact that he's not getting enough coverage, that Larry Summers is not getting enough coverage. So this was the statement the president made. This is in the Oval Office a while back. This goes back to November.
You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did.
Okay, you get the context. One of the emails that came out in researching the files was one between J.E. and Larry Summers, dated February the 8th, 2017. Gosh, almost 9 years ago to the day. Okay. Importance high. This is the text of the email. Again, this has gone public. The email address has been verified because the conservatives and Republicans and MAGA have also cited other things coming from this same email address. All right. This is from J.E., again, dated February the 8th, 2017, to Larry Summers. In Jeffrey's words, again, Jeffrey being the sender, to Larry Summers, it says this: I've told you, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, he's dangerous. Now think about that for a second, folks. Just think about that for a second. You've got the most notorious predator that we know of. A guy who is, we know who he is. You don't need me to get into the specifics because we want to keep the live up. You know what we're talking about. For that guy, J.E., to say again the quote, I've met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, he's dangerous. So the track record of the Donald, right, is that when he is cornered, when the shit is really bad for him, he attacks the people that either didn't defend him or are brought into this, and he doesn't like the blowback on him. Why trust J.E.? It's not about trusting J.E. You guys are so fucking stupid. It's not about trusting J.E., friend. It's about the things that are being said about Donald Trump by the people that are in the same circles that he's in. Do you understand? No, you don't. You don't understand water. So why am I even asking? Again, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, he's dangerous. Yeah. I've got that. Somebody just mentioned this, and I think I have this quote. Hang on one second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to read this to you guys because it's somebody just reminded me. Where is it? Maybe I don't have it. Doesn't matter. Long story short, we know enough to make our own conclusions. I'm all about due process. I'm all about giving people their day in court. But this entire thing, what we're witnessing right now, comes down to this basic truth, right? ASG Elliot Morris of Strength in Numbers wrote this: Republicans could stop this at any time they wanted to. Quote, all it would take to end the schmurdering of American citizens by an untrained government goon squad is 16 Republicans in Congress voting with Democrats to defund ICE, or 23 to impeach and remove Trump, 3 in the House and 20 in the Senate. That's it. 23 Americans can vote for the public and end all of this. It's true. It's true. 23, 3 in the House, 20 in the Senate, and this ends. 23 people. 23. I'll say it again. 23. That's what it would take. Now, people are going to come up with their own biased bullshit, their own partisan nonsense, whatever it might be. Don't forget, Trump just recently came out and said, I've been absolved. I've been absolved. I've been absolved. My theory again, Susie Wiles, Stephen Miller, whomever's closest to him, just tell him what they think he wants to hear. Sir, this absolves you. So he goes out and tells people that he's been absolved, and then his base is like, you see that? He's been absolved. Okay. 23. 3 in the House, 20 in the Senate, and this nightmare ends. And we never have to talk about this fat fuck again. This twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list predator, con man, who's enriched himself to the tune of billions of dollars since he took the office. I went through the exercise for you guys before. We can do it again if we have to. But what about Biden? What about Biden? What about Biden? What about Hunter's cock? It was everywhere. Okay. He attacks people who've got the goods on him. That's what this comes down to. So I'm going to play another couple of sound bites. We're going to talk about Bitch Boy again. He's not going to go without coverage today. And then I'm going to connect the dots a little bit more on some statements that have been made by members of the administration in defense of the president and the denials of honesty. First thing I want to play for you, though, is J.D. Vance, because he's not going to get off the list either. He's being interviewed by a reporter from the Daily Mail, asked a simple question. Here's the question, and listen to J.D.'s answer.
Plan to apologize to the family of Alex Preddy?
Simple question. Do you plan to apologize to the family of Alex Preddy?
Apologize to the family of Alex Preddy?
For what?
For what? Okay.
For, labeling him an assassin with ill intent.
Well, again, I just described to you what I said about Alex Preddy, which is that he's a guy who showed up with ill intent to an ICE protest.
No, but if it's determined that his civil rights were violated by this FBI investigation, will you apologize to that?
So if this hypothetical leads to that hypothetical leads to another hypothetical,
it's a real case.
Will I do a thing? And again, like I said, we're going to let the investigation.
Should you plan to?
Simple question, JD. Don't forget, within hours, you went out and called him a domestic terrorist. That's what you called him. You called him a domestic terrorist. Let me say that again. JD, you little fucking bitch. You're on my list too, bitch boy. We've got 3 bitch boys. We've got Ted Cruz, JD Vance, and at the top of the list is still Mike Johnson. But listen, you little bitch, you called him a domestic terrorist. And the reporter said, are you going to apologize to Alex Preddy's family? And you couldn't even fucking answer. You pathetic piece of fucking shit. All right. Visibility is restricted. Great. Cool. Okay. Then let's shift gears a little bit. Suppression, man. Crazy. So let's talk about the lawsuit that the president has filed against the IRS. Here's the sound. In case you don't know, the president of the United States has filed a lawsuit against the United States, the Department of the Treasury specifically, for $10.5 billion. Here is the reporter doing the questioning.
New lawsuit by you and your family that you're suing the IRS for $10.5 billion for leaking your tax documents. Yeah. Is this a good use of taxpayer money?
Simple question, right? You're suing the federal government, of which you are the executive, for $10.5 billion. We would pay that. Our friends on the right don't think so. They think that it's only going to be blue-haired, nail varnish wearing leftists they're going to have to pay. Okay, cool. Simple question. Do you think it's a good use of taxpayer dollars?
You can't leak documents. And any money that I win, I'll give it to charity, 100% to charity.
Okay, you'll give it to charity. Okay, so then what you're saying is that you get to decide how our taxpayer dollars are spent if you then decide how much. Again, the question is, he's suing the IRS. Okay? He's suing the IRS. And then he gets to determine how much he's willing to settle. So the Department of Justice is going to have to defend. Here's the wild part, right? The Department of Justice has to defend the IRS against the president. Okay.
It would be approved by government or whatever. I have another lawsuit with the United States. I sued because they broke into Mar-a-Lago.
But that's taxpayer money. It's going to get taken out of the system. I know it's going to charity, you're going to say. How would this work, though? Scott Bessent's the head of the IRS. Pam Bondi's the head of the Justice Department. They're going to defend the IRS against you. You're their boss.
Well, there's never been anything like it, in all fairness.
So are you going to tell them to pay you?
Don't forget, I sued as a private citizen.
I don't fucking
because
care.
I sued between terms. I won
But are you
3
going to tell them
times.
to pay you?
I won 3 times, but I didn't assume, unfortunately for this country, I didn't assume office the second time. But here's the story. I sued because they broke into Mar-a-Lago. That was before I became president. Now it goes along, and it turned out that the suit is a very strong suit.
You're going to tell them to pay you, though? You're the boss.
Well, what I would do, tell them to pay me, but I'll give 100% of the money to charity.
You just heard it. I'm going to tell them to pay me. I'm going to tell them to pay me.
I don't want any of that money.
You take it out of the system. A couple more questions here.
No, I'm putting it back into the system.
Yeah.
If I give money to American Cancer Society, I will give 100% of the money away to charity. I don't want any of it.
$30 trillion debt, and we're going to take $10 billion out of the system?
Well, I mean, you give it away anyway. They give away a lot of money.
You're endorsed.
They? That would be you, dipshit.
There's a new lawsuit by you and your family that you're suing the IRS.
I don't even know what to say about that. Like, what do you even say? Anybody on the right want to defend that? What he just said? $10 billion. I will determine how much is settled, and I will then decide which charities to give it for. Is that how it works now? So let's talk about the Mar-a-Lago situation for a second, because I did a little bit of research on this, and I'm like, what is he talking about? So of course, in his claim, he said he won. He did file legal action against the FBI's Mar-a-Lago search warrant. It wasn't a traditional sue over the warrant lawsuit challenging the warrant's validity. Instead, this Wiki just summarized this. Instead, his legal actions were focused on how the seized materials were handled after the search, and then later on seeking compensation. The president has claimed that he won. After the FBI executed a search warrant at his Mar-a-Lago estate, again, they didn't raid him. They executed a search warrant because he refused to give back documents because he lied, right? Trump filed a lawsuit on the 22nd of August, 2022 in U.S. District Court of the Southern District of Florida. In that case, Trump v. United States, he asked a federal judge to appoint a special master. The special master would be a neutral reviewer tasked with going through the materials the FBI seized to identify any that were privileged, attorney-client or executive privilege, or not covered by the warrant, and potentially have the judge have them returned to him. A judge initially granted the special master request. The U.S. Justice Department appealed. And the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in the 11th Circuit reversed that decision and then ended the special master review, allowing investigators to resume full access to the materials. The district court ultimately dismissed Trump's lawsuit later in 2022 for lack of jurisdiction, and Trump did not appeal to the Supreme Court. So no, he did not win. He lost. In 2024 and 2025, Trump also took steps towards suing for damages. But again, not directly about the legality of the warrant itself. Instead, he filed administrative claims under the Federal Tort Claims Act, asserting that the Mar-a-Lago search and subsequent prosecution caused him harm, privacy invasion, malicious prosecution, abusive process, and seeking compensation, for example, $100 million in one claim. If the government denies those claims or fails to act, he could then convert them into federal lawsuits. He sued, but he lost. So again, he fucking lied. How many times do you have to hear him lie before you'll believe any of it? How many times? Here's another one. Here's part of the same. It's part of the same interview. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. Hang on one second. Let me just pull this up real quick. I just want you to hear that sound again.
You're suing the IRS for $10.5 billion for leaking your tax documents. Yeah. Is this a good use of taxpayer money?
You can't leak documents. And any money that I win, I'll give it to charity, 100% to charity. Charities that would be approved by government or whatever. I have another lawsuit with the United States. I sued because they broke into Mar-a-Lago.
But that's taxpayer money. It's going to get taken out of the system. I know it's going to charity, you're going to say. How would this work, though? Scott Bessent's the head of the IRS.
What I would
Pam Bondi's the head of the Justice Department. They're going to defend the IRS against you. You're their boss.
Well, there's never been anything like it, in all fairness.
So are you going to tell them to pay you?
Don't forget, I sued as a private citizen because I sued between terms. I won 3 times. I won 3 times, but I didn't assume, unfortunately for this country, I didn't assume office the second time. But here's the story. I sued because they broke into Mar-a-Lago. That was before I became president. Now it goes along, and it turned out that the suit is a very strong suit.
You're going to tell them to pay you, though? You're the boss.
Well, what I would do, tell them to pay me, but I'll give 100% of the money to charity. I don't want any of the money.
You take it out of the system. A couple more questions here.
No, I'm putting it back into the system.
Yeah.
If I give money to American Cancer Society, I will give 100% of the money away to charity. I don't want any of it.
$30 trillion debt, and we're going to take $10 billion out of the system?
Well, I mean, you give it away anyway. They give away a lot of money.
Your endorsement, there's a new...
So, claims that he won, he didn't. Joe Biden went a bridge too far by wanting to use appropriated funds to absolve student loan debt. And people on the right lost their fucking mind. We pay $36 annually out of our paychecks to fund SNAP. Not $36 a week, not $36 twice a month, $36 annually. And the right lost their fucking mind. We appropriate funds to make sure that people have access to health care. And the right has lost their fucking mind. And now the President of the United States, who is the chairman of the board when it comes to our federal government, just told you that he is suing the federal government, the IRS in particular. And then when he decides how much money he's going to get, he gets to decide which charity your taxpayer dollars will go to, and you fucking patriots are fine with it. And then he just lied to you again about the Mar-a-Lago lawsuit. He lost that too. They're like, this is fucking nonsense. Nobody broke into Mar-a-Lago. There was a search warrant issued because the liar in chief stole government documents and didn't give them back, and was indicted for willful retention of national defense information, which is a violation of the Espionage Act. If that case went to trial, he would have been found guilty. There's no doubt about it, because it's a fucking paper trail case. Undeniable. Undeniable. And then the right, of course, tried to use the Hur report to say, Joe, what about Biden? What about Biden? He did the same thing. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Robert Hur, in fact, referenced that. Unlike Trump's case, Mr. Biden cooperated. Trump did not. And he sued the DOJ because of that. $10 billion. $10 billion, which is 10% roughly of what our contributions are to Medicaid, Medicare annually, or ACA subsidies annually. Nice, right? Nothing to see here, though. Okay. I'm curious, though. I'm just curious how that would land. It's fine. Nothing to see here. Did I mention the Supreme Court? Yeah, I did. I mentioned that. Supreme Court ruled that California can keep their maps. So let's go back in time just a little bit. I want to hear just a couple of things from Kash Patel. I don't want this to go away. I don't want people to ever forget that what Mr. Patel said under oath. Here's a couple of examples. The first line of questioning came from a friendly source, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana. This is when he was asked the question about who was investigated, who was trafficked. Remember this. Remember these answers, okay? Remember these answers when Kash Patel faces justice, okay?
Credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay, so let's just unpack that. So the argument that he wants you to, what he wants you to believe, again, what he wants you to believe is that the 1,200 or so survivors in this case, the only two people that ever violated these girls, these children, girls and boys, were Jeffrey and Ghislaine. And no one else did. So then why are we bringing Bill Clinton in to testify? Why? Why aren't we bringing him in? Does he not have to answer questions? If no one else was trafficked, then what's the whole point? You lied, Kash. You lied under oath to Congress. Where is the DOJ investigation into that? Okay, no problem. And then just a little bit more of Kash Patel. This time he's being interviewed or being questioned by Dan Goldman. I wanted to bring these testimonies back up just so we can keep it top of mind. Remember, it's 48 days since the Department of Justice, of which Kash Patel is a member of. In fact, he is the FBI director, right? I don't want this to be to go down into the dustbin of history. I won't let it. So this is Dan Goldman questioning Kash, one of the same hearings.
The Epstein files?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
It's not a complicated question. Does Donald Trump appear anywhere in the Epstein files?
I didn't say it was a complicated question. I just didn't hear you, so my apologies. We have released where President Trump's name's in the Epstein files and everybody else, and all credible information that we are legally allowed to release has been released.
All right, so let's go through that.
Okay, so now we have a law. Now we have a law, Kash. Now there's a law that says you have to release everything. Everything. All of it. And you're just lying.
Referring to court orders that prohibit you from releasing grand jury testimony under Rule 6E. Is that what you're referring to when you say as the law allows?
That's a piece of it.
Really? What other evidence do those three court orders you cited prohibit from being released?
Information that was collected pursuant to those search warrants that were limited in fashion.
Wrong. Okay. That's not what the court order says, and that's not under 6E.
And you're talking, and I said that's 6E, and I said there was others, and I'm answering that there are sealed court order documents. There are protective orders.
They are unsealed as part of discovery given to Ghislaine Maxwell. They are no longer sealed.
That's just not true. We can argue about it all you want.
Okay, well, you agree that there are, so your testimony here is that the reason why you are not releasing all of the videos that you have acknowledged, there are so many, and that the FBI spent thousands of hours of reviewing, the photographs, all of the photographs that you have. You're saying that you're not releasing those because there's a court order requiring them to be sealed? Is that your testimony?
Never said that about the videos. On the totality of the videos, of the thousands of images that were seized pursuant to the search warrants executed at the time, the overwhelming majority of that video is pornographic material that was downloaded from the internet and child sexual abuse material.
Of which now your boss has released that information. Under the law, that information was supposed to be sealed and redacted. Why is that not the case, Kash?
We will never release that.
Well, as you should not release the victims. They're in the Epstein file.
So let's draw some conclusions, shall we, friends? How many lies did Kash Patel just tell? How many, right? Tried to claim that things were under seal when they weren't. Tried to claim that Democrat-appointed judges could have released the information that those that were still under seal, they couldn't. Tried to claim that we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that victims' names and CSAM material is not released. Then why did it just get released? Why were there pictures of prepubescent girls that were made public in the latest release of these documents, Kash? Why is it? Why? Why is that the case, Kash? Are you gonna go down? Are you gonna be part of the sinking ship? Because Kash, Booby, I hope you're watching. Somebody please send this live in the statement I'm about to make. Kash Patel, you are a fucking liar. You are an incompetent fucking hack. You are a fucking liar. And Kash, people will remember you for protecting predators, Kash. People will remember you for lying to protect predators. Kash. People will remember you. Let me say this again. People will remember you, Kash, for lying to protect predators. You have gone public so many times and talk about how you care about sex trafficking, about how you care about going after predators, about how you care about going after the worst of the worst. And here you are, lying to the American people's faces under congressional testimony when you raised your right hand and took an oath to not lie. And you fucking lied. You lied. You lied. You lied, Kash. And you are lying to the American people to protect predators. Do you understand that? If you don't, I'll be sure to remind you on the daily, bitch boy. I think that's the only sound that I wanted to play from that particular testimony. I can't play this one because I don't want to get clapped again. I don't want to play that one either. So let's just, I want to remind folks, I kind of wrote this down. All right. MAGA Republicans and those in his administration say that it will take a lot more than eyewitness testimony, photos, DNA, toxicology reports, survivor statements, wire transfers, emails, flight manifests, phone records, bank records, surveillance logs, bank records, audio, video, and total confessions for them to believe that Trump's Epstein ties were more than coincidental. I'll read that again. The GOP says it'll take a lot more than eyewitness testimony, photos, DNA, toxicology reports, victim statements, survivor statements, wire transfers, emails, flight manifests, phone records, surveillance logs, bank records, audio, video, and total confessions for them to believe that Trump's Epstein ties were just more than a coincidence. And Kash Patel is lying to protect predators. And Todd Blanche is lying to protect predators. And Pam Bondi is lying to protect predators. And you'll say there's no evidence. We have the evidence, but it's not enough. You just continue to bring people. In fact, his new Fed chair, that guy, Kevin Warsh, I think his name's in the files too. But again, nothing to see here. Okay. That's fine. Nothing to see here. This soundbite that I'm gonna play for you guys is from a while back, because this is how desperate. When we talk about news, and this is all related to what we discussed yesterday and a little bit today. Newsmax reporting that they're going after Barack Obama. Sorry, my stomach's been off a little bit. My apologies. I'm going to play this sound. This is an attempt to try to distract, right? So you've got state-run media, Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and Alex Jones and everybody else. You've got state-run media going public with this information. I want you to hear this sound very closely, and we'll discuss.
It should shake every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but
this guy's name is Jason Meister. He's a Trump Advisory Board member. Okay, that's this guy's name. Here you go again. So again, this is on Newsmax.
It should shake every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he...
First of all, that's ripe for defamation. That there's incontrovertible evidence. That is ripe for defamation.
was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
Really?
James Comey.
Really?
John Brennan.
Okay.
Clapper.
Cool.
Rice.
Got it.
Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
Nice, right? Nice. Nice. This guy trying to claim that the investigation into the 2020 election and 2016 election was the biggest political scandal in history. The House Oversight Committee went one up and said, well, no, that's not. Joe Biden's auto pen is the biggest political scandal in history. This is Newsmax. Newsmax is gaining viewership. Newsmax and people who mainline it. I talk about the Necessary Conversation podcast, with the family, which I don't watch anymore because I think now it's just grifting, in my opinion. I think it's bullshit now that they are even platforming their parents because they're just despicable, vile fucking human beings, sadly. Newsmax is gaining popularity. So people that are watching Newsmax are watching this guy break that down. And if you don't have a filter, right? If you don't have the ability to look past the bullshit, leaning out all in on your Dunning-Kruger confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance crap, this is what you get. There's somebody at my door. I'll go. Well, I know them. I'll be right back. I'll play this sound for you guys again.
Yeah, and of course,
it should shake every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
So there's the ultimate gaslight. I got my co-op. We get our co-op delivery every Tuesday, but they moved it to Thursday, and they don't like to leave it outside because there's stuff in there. But anyway, that's what it was. So question is for all of us, right, is, we did this breakdown yesterday about primary sourcing and, secondary and tertiary and propagandizing and disinformation and misinformation. If you are a loyal Newsmax watcher, first of all, you're a loyal Newsmax watcher. If you are already, total win co-op day, no doubt about it. I've been part of this co-op for like 7 years now. I was one of the early members. It's really cool. Anyway, if you are a loyal Newswatch viewer or Newsmax viewer, and you are already confirmation biased to believe everything that comes out of the word of the president, and you have cognitive dissonance and you're unwilling to look past headlines, then you're going to believe that to be true. You're going to believe it. So it's one thing to say that people on the right who will just believe lies, they don't think these are lies. They think this is the truth. When you make statements, first of all, they already hate Barack Obama and why the current president is still obsessed with him, right? The tan suit, eloquent black man, and just Mag, in case you're listening, this is what the left does. There's lots of things about Barack Obama's economic agenda that I did not like. I think that the bullshit display when he went to Flint, Michigan, and drank the water in front of the people up there who were saying we've got this water issue was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Lots of things about I did not like his use of drone. I did not like some statements that he came out early on about same-sex marriage. Lots of things. That's how you're critical of your elected officials. Okay? That's how you criticize them because they work for us. We don't idolize them. At the same time, I think he did a lot of amazing things. He was a man of honor. He was a man of integrity. He was honest. He was forthright. He had empathy and compassion. Okay? So, that's how you be critical. But this guy to go out and just poison the well and say that Barack Obama and all those involved and James Comer and Clapper and Biden, what about Biden? Right? You're going to believe it. The people are going to believe that Barack Obama was a traitor. That's what they're going to believe because this guy said irrefutable evidence. That is defamation territory. He should lawyer up. And to be honest, that's what I want. I want Barack Obama to say, I'm going to sue this guy. When we say take a page out of the MAGA playbook, that's what I mean. I want to, if we have to govern using a fucking sledgehammer, then let's do it. Let's fucking blow shit up. Let's do the exact same thing that they're doing. I want elected officials going on TV and saying, Jason, what's this guy's name again? His name is Jason Meister. I want Barack Obama to do an appearance on MSNBC and say, I'm filing a lawsuit for $25 gazillion against Jason Meister because he said that there was irrefutable evidence that I was part of a plot. Why not? This is where we want more from our Democratic elected officials. Democratic Party, progressives, moderates, liberals. I mentioned to you that I had the pleasure of being part of an interview panel for a gentleman who's going up against Mike Johnson in Louisiana. And I said to him, I asked the question, I said, are you going to go on a debate stage and if you get a chance and get the nomination and you debate Mike Johnson, will you go there publicly and call him a liar and a hypocrite? And I didn't like his answer. He was very soft. He said, yeah, but I want that. I want him to say, you're goddamn fucking right, I will. In fact, I'm gonna create some of my campaigns. I'm gonna call Mike Johnson a liar and a hypocrite. It's the majority of our country believes in liberal-leaning policies. We can talk about some of the hot button issues. Women's reproductive rights, that's like a 70-30 issue. Firearm reform is like a 65-35 issue. Healthcare problems is like universal healthcare is like a 65-35 issue. All those things are popular. So you've already got people. You've already hooked them. Now, kick the fucking door down and be aggressive and be loud and drop F-bombs and be fucking human. These guys, the reason we call them fucking Yahtzees is because they're fucking Yahtzees. The reason we call them fascists is because they're fucking fascists. The reason we call them racists and misogynists and patriarchal fucking assholes is because they are all those things. That's why. Don't apologize for it. Just fucking do it. Decorum be damned. Like, call the fucking shit out. That's what people want to see. We don't want this, well, we've got to build the bridge. Fuck the fucking bridge. Give me a fucking break. We don't need them. There are more registered Democrats in Texas than there are Republicans. One of the districts in our country that has the highest participation rate in the ACA is Mike Johnson's district. We're going to get into that in just a minute. Use that shit. Fucking use it. Why are you lying to your constituents? Why don't you give a shit about your constituents, Mike? Do you know that some of the biggest representation in the entire country when it comes to healthcare and the ACA membership are people in your district? When was the last time you spoke to them, Mike, you lying piece of shit? Get national coverage. Get fucking sound bites. Whether you win or not isn't the point. Well, ultimately it is. But embarrass him. Embarrass him. Call his fucking shit out. Embarrass him. I believe in embarrassment. I was not, listen, public embarrassment was not against me when my kids were little. I'd be like, if they were screaming in a restaurant, I'd be like, look at all the people looking at you. Isn't that embarrassing? I know that may not be in the parenting code book, but it worked. Embarrass him publicly. Why not? What have we got to fucking lose? Why apologize for dropping F-bombs? Don't. Just be fucking human. Just be real. Mike Johnson is a pathetic, lying fuck who deserves to be publicly fucking dragged. He brags about his knowledge of the Constitution. Okay, let's talk about that real quick. I've got some. This to me is tells you everything you need to know about Mike Johnson. This, when we're talking about, he's talking about ICE here. Here you go.
Supposed to do? What is Immigration Customs Enforcement supposed to do at that point? Oh, gee whiz, they locked the door. I mean, I guess we'll just go on to our. I mean, so there's some logic and reason that is to be applied here.
Really?
Some have complained that the force has been excessive or what have you. I don't know. We're going to figure that out. It's part of the discussion over the next couple of weeks. What is ICE supposed to do? What is Immigration Customs Enforcement supposed to do at that point? Oh, gee whiz, they locked the door.
How about follow the fucking Constitution, Mike? How about that? How about I'm sorry, it's inconvenient to protect someone's rights to due process or Fourth Amendment violations? You're supposed to be a constitutional lawyer, you fucking piece of shit. It's a little inconvenient for them to get a warrant. What are they supposed to do? Oh, I don't know. They're supposed to follow the law. That's what they're supposed to do. Mike, bitch boy. It's a little inconvenient. What are they supposed to do? And you know what? There are people in this country, the same people that you speak to, Mike, who hope they believe, or that believes you, who just feels like, it's no big deal. Now they're being told that a memo circulating in DHS justifies ICE agents from violating people's constitutional rights. And you fucking cowards believe it. You believe it. You believe a statement, a memo, an administrative warrant issued by a member of DHS. An administrative warrant can even be issued by the field commander at a facility. Like, we need an administrative warrant to violate that person's rights. Here you go. The memo says so. Nope. You don't get to gain access into someone's property or papers, etc., unless you have a judicial warrant. And an immigration warrant is not a judicial warrant to enter somebody's house. And you're going to sit there and tell people that it's a little inconvenient?
I mean, I guess we'll just go on to our. I mean, so there's some logic and reason that is to be applied here. Some have complained that the force has been excessive or what have you. I don't know. We're going to figure that out. It's part of the discussion over the next couple of weeks. What is ICE supposed to do? What is
They're supposed to follow the law. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to have a judicial warrant. They're not supposed to be rounding up American citizens. They're not supposed to be violating people's constitutional rights. They're not supposed to be detaining American citizens. 70% don't even have, the people that they've detained don't even have criminal records. They're supposed to follow the law. I mean, what? Now, Mike, bitch boy, when you're in your footy pajamas, having your Fruity Pebbles, because that tracks. When we have these conversations and I say, Mike, maybe you should stop spending so much time worrying about what your son is watching for corn and you monitor each other. Maybe you should pick up the Constitution that you claim to care about so much and follow the fucking rules, you pathetic piece of shit. In case you didn't know, I'm not a big fan of Mike Johnson. In case you didn't know, I despise him. I don't mean to diss the Fruity Pebbles. I don't. Love them. In fact, I've never really met a cereal that I don't like. There's a box of Golden Grams within eyesight. It's like right there. I could go grab it right now and just devour it, but I won't. Because that'd be gross. I just want people to understand what the Speaker of the House is telling you. You guys are the smartest chat on TikTok. I know you know this. What is ICE supposed to do? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it a little inconvenient to protect people's constitutional rights? Okay. Cool. Just wanted to square that. It's fucking ridiculous. So let's go back to some other things that Mike has said recently about the SAVE Act. In case you didn't know, here we go.
3 House Republican candidates who are ahead on election day in the last election.
Hang on.
3 House Republican candidates who are ahead on election day in the last election cycle. And every time a new tranche of ballots came in, they just magically whittled away until their leads were lost.
Is it magic, Mike? Is it really magic? I used to think, that, when you were reading how to I won't even go there. When we would sit around and, and again, and you couldn't reach the counter, so I had to get the cup for you. I used to think that you understood how elections work. Like, votes come in and they're counted, and then more votes come in and they're counted, and then more votes come in and they're counted, and then when all the votes are in, you count, and the person who has the most votes wins. That's how it works. That's how it works, Mike. But you want to say this?
Candidates who are ahead on election day in the last election cycle. And every time a new tranche of ballots came in, they just magically whittled away until their leads were lost. And no series of ballots that were counted after election day were our candidates ahead on any of those counts. It looks on its face to be fraudulent. Can I prove?
It looks on its face to be fraudulent? But it's not fraudulent when your candidates win, Mike? You see, we see you, you pathetic piece of fucking shit. We see you.
On election day in the last election cycle. And every time a new tranche of ballots came in, they just magically whittled away until their leads were lost. And no series of ballots that were counted after election day were our candidates ahead on any of those counts. It looks on its face to be fraudulent. Can I prove that? No.
Welcome to the Bigfoot era.
Okay. Can I prove it? No. I'm just going to tell people that because I'm a bitch boy. Katie Tur does a really good breakdown of this. I'll let this play out.
Era of American politics, the era where conspiracies are true just because some people might want to believe them to be true. And even, apparently, when those conspiracies are proven wrong. So congratulations to all you flat earthers, moonwalk denialists, and 9/11 was an inside jobbers, because the very fact that you believe it makes it true, according to reasoning by Speaker Mike Johnson and other Republicans who refuse to believe that Republicans could possibly lose an election. At one time, this would be laughable or ignorable, but it's not any longer, because these people, at the prompting of the president who can't accept reality, a reality where he is not the best, well, they're cynically repeating that lie to try to make it sound true to you. And it's working. It has been working. After the 2020 election, according to Gallup, Republicans' faith in the accuracy of presidential elections plunged from 44% to 28%. That is precipitous. The same goes for the insurrection. Republicans who disapproved of January 6th dropped from 51% shortly after the attack to 30% just last year. This sort of thing might get you what you want in the short term, if in the short term you want your party to stay in power. But in the long term, it destroys democracy, destroys what you claim to love, brings us into a new system of government, one that is not based on elections, one that does not derive its just powers from the consent of the governed, and forever labels you the ones who destroyed it.
We had 3 House Republican candidates.
Good reporting there by Katie Tur. Good reporting. That is the math now. Republican voters and Republican elected officials just don't understand why they keep losing. Why are we losing? It's got to be cheating, because people love our anti-human rights, anti-civil rights policies. They love the fact that we're taking away women's rights to their body. They love the fact that we're ignoring court orders. They love the fact that many of us are connected to the Jeffrey files. They love all that shit. Why are we losing? Funny. Thank you. That was quick. What is this here? Get some job numbers. I'm going to play a couple little sound bites for you. Apparently, the president's out on the road, and here's a statement that he made. We were just discussing the lawsuits that he's filed against the federal government. Here you go.
And then they say Donald Trump is using the Justice Department to get even, and I don't. But wouldn't I have a right to? Think of it. There's never been in history a president treated like I got treated.
Oh, my God.
But they say I use it, and it's amazing.
Such a little fucking baby. Here's another one. Here he is again. Here's bitch boy. Oh, he's not bitch boy. He's to fucking whatever he is.
Ever expansion of school choice. So we passed the largest ever expansion of school choice so that every parent has a chance to send their child to a school that shares their values.
Yeah, this is the National Prayer Breakfast address. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
And today I'm also pleased to announce that the Department of Education is officially issuing its new guidance to protect the right to prayer in our public schools. That's a big deal.
You were never in a position where you couldn't pray in our public schools. You just can't be forced on anyone. That's how the Constitution works. Can you imagine sitting around in a room with people who claim to be persons of faith and you're cheering that fucking guy? Okay. Nothing to see here, though. And then, since we were just talking about the SAVE Act and this whole how it's completely anti-women, anti-everybody, poll tax, it's basically illegal. There was this reporting that, I know it does, Jess. He does sound like he's slurring badly. There was this... There was this amazing moment with Steve Bannon. I'm not sure if you've heard this, and thank you, Tootle, for the reminder. I had this queued up, but I lost it.
We have to purge all the voter rolls for people who are not eligible to vote in those districts or counties or states.
So just purge the voter rolls. Okay, just purge them. That's fine.
Right, and then we have to we have to do a real job on mail-in ballots, like like signature verification.
Okay, cool. You want to deny again states?
We're supposed to be on the books, but of course they took them off the books and looked the other way in Pennsylvania. That's how they stole that. If they don't have illegal aliens voting, or if they don't have these phony migrants that are here on these phony programs that are at the polls, and you're damn right, we're going to have ICE surround the polls come November. We're not going to sit here and allow you to steal the country again. And you can whine and cry and throw your toys out of the pram all you want, but we will never again allow an election to be stolen. And that's why I'm so proud of what President Trump is doing. We have to.
And mods, if I could ask for one more favor, there's also a clip of Bannon saying that if we lose, we're going to get locked up. So if you guys could find that for me too, I'd appreciate that. So let's just gather around, right? So we've got the SAVE Act, which is as far as I'm concerned, it's a violation of constitutional rights, right? You can't force someone to have a government issued ID. Some people don't. Some people don't have passports. They never decided they were never going to travel. Some people don't have driver's license because they don't drive. Some people don't have access to their birth certificate. They could have moved, whatever that might be. You cannot force people. You cannot force people under the law. You have a right to vote. You can't force people. Those are poll taxes. You cannot put a prohibitive barrier in front of somebody. Thank you, Tiff. I've got the best fucking team in the business. Can you guys just hearts in the chat for I know mods everywhere, but for my mods in particular, because they are the fucking best. There is no denying it. They are the best. I love you all so very much. They make me look good every day, and that ain't easy. And hearts in the chat for my amazing mods. You can't. What the SAVE Act is just another attempt to try to say we care about election integrity. No, it's about suppressing the vote. You heard. Appreciate you. We heard Mike Johnson We heard Steve Bannon saying what we're going to do. We're going to deny, we're going to make sure that our elections are free and fair. Well, part of the reason that this is really important to Mr. Bannon
and I will tell
is because
you
of this.
right now, as God is my witness.
Okay, this is at a, let's see, he's at some fucking right-wing bullshit creative factory. Who the fuck knows what it is? But this is Steve Bannon. This is a while back. This is from November the 6th of last year. All right, here you go.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness.
Oh, God's witness.
If we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Oh!
They're not going to stop. They're getting more and more and more radical.
Oh.
And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with?
Cheating.
We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order, right? We have to codify it. And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills in the Senate. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it. President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast. Even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys he liked, and some of these institutions, I understand. This is a very tough decision to make.
Okay, back to the beginning again. Hear it again. And again, listen, you know, I would just like, I want to think about what he said for a second. Listen again.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison.
Okay. So if that does not motivate you, if that does not get your fires burning, so to speak, you know, arouse you to get involved politically, I don't know what will. He's right. You're not going to get protection, Steve. You're not. And by the way, us Steves, we don't claim him. Your motor's running? Nice. Love that. Here it is again.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Okay, so it's one thing to say that, but he knows it to be true because they have been breaking the fucking law. And he knows it. He knows it. But yeah, I know, right, Betty? Talk dirty to me? Yeah. Woo! Yeah. That's the fucking best foreplay ever. Promises from Steve. You don't even need corn. You just listen to that on fucking loop. Would work for me. Anyway, well, anything works these days, to be honest. All right, let's get back on topic here. The reason I think that we have to play these sound bites and how we have to listen to Steve Bannon's rhetoric about using ICE, they are tactics to intimidate. Okay? He wants people to think that ICE is going to be surrounding polling locations. Let them. Let them do it. Let them. Yes, Jess, you can. Yes. Let them. Let them intimidate voters. Let them. Do you know why I say that? It's because they're fucking scared. And do you know who they're scared of the most? Women. Queens. White women. Y'all, this is your time. Right now. This is your time. It's right in front of you. It is literally sitting right there. It is right in front of you. They are telling you, they are signaling to you that they don't give a fuck about your right to vote. They don't give a fuck about the fact that you are still in our system being abused on the daily. They don't care. They are afraid of you. They do not want you to participate. They want you in the kitchen. They don't give a fuck. The question is, what are you going to do about it, Queens? What are you going to do? Are you going to show them who's boss? Or are you going to let them continue to do the same thing? You need to walk up to Steve Bannon. When you see him, you'll smell him. You walk right up to him and say, so I understand that you're worried about going to jail if you lose. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're going to fucking lose. You've got work to do. Get it done. Please.
Hi, brother. 5 minutes, please. 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, friend. Not today. There's just too many. I offer that space a lot, just not today. Okay. Where was I? Let me give you a couple of updates on some things here. Did I cover this? Yes, I did. Did I cover that? Oh, Jared Moskowitz. This is the kind of energy that we're talking about, right? This is Jared Moskowitz. They're discussing Kristi Noem and how they're just like lining up the people. I don't want the next Congress to be just one. I do want these impeachment hearings. I just want to make sure that they're still legislating because we still have the ACA subsidies we have to talk about. We've got to talk about DHS funding, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. But this is Jared Moskowitz. This is the kind of energy we want.
So I don't understand what the problem is. I don't get it. For years, you fired people. It was strength. Now you think that's weakness. I mean, if we can't get Apprentice Trump, can we at least get like Home Alone 2 Trump? Can he at least like show her the lobby and out the door? She's coming here in a month, okay? It's not going to be a good hearing for her.
Yeah, Kristi Noem is scheduled to testify to the House in, I think it's either at the tail end of February or early March, and it's not going to go well for her. I have a feeling she's not even going to be in her position. I have a feeling she'll be gone by then.
It's going to be a disaster. You all are going to have to defend her, which you're not willing to do on TV. This will be very televised. I mean, why did the president not let her speak in the cabinet meeting? Why didn't she get to talk?
Yeah, why?
Right? Why is Tom Homan now running the department? Why is Roger Stone taking shots at her? Mm-hmm. It's time for her to be fired. She is the weakest link of his team, and it's enough. And again, I got plenty of material, as you see, Mr. President, to remind you how to do it. Just go back, go on your reruns, go find some old episodes for some inspiration. I yield back.
So that, please, more of that. Call it out. So we should, what are the Kelshi odds on whether or not? Do you really think the Trump administration is going to let her go and testify before Congress? Really? There's no way in hell. One thing we know about Donald Trump, he doesn't want anybody in his circle that makes him look bad. That is it. If you make him look bad, you are fucking out. And she's done nothing but make him look bad. So there's that. Just real quick, I just want to remind folks something. I just want to update people on the Do Something tour. Talked about it a little bit yesterday. There's a couple more things I kind of wanted to touch on as we get into this a little bit more. I talked to you guys yesterday about how, first of all, what it is. I think I covered that. We'll talk about it more. What you're seeing right here is we're tracking our fundraising goal. We've made it known now that we're trying to raise $25K. And what that's going to include is little of everything. All right, we'll track it. So it was $419 yesterday. Thank you all who donated. I really appreciate all of you. We'll track this every day, and then we'll update this every day. The target is April. That is the target to head on the road. So what the 25 will cover will be transportation, fees, gas, food. I'm probably going to have to stay in a hotel on occasion just over the course of the weeks, whatever that would look like, all that kind of stuff. We're trying to be conservative in our estimates. I have made a personal decision that I'm going to make this part of my full-time job. I have a company that I run, actually two in fact, but to do this the way that I want to do it, it's going to require more of my time. So I will be dedicating a large chunk of my time to this over the next couple of months. Lots of other things to do, a couple of other projects that could potentially fall in my lap. I've always got time to do it. So to do that, it's going to require our community to be involved. So that's why we're asking for your donations and your generosity and your kindness. We will be publishing an email address very soon. We are in the process of incorporating ourselves to get some legal protection. We are in the process, like I said, of incorporating ourselves, and there'll be an email address that we will share publicly so that people can communicate with us if they want to help and participate. I've had a lot of people reach out. I've had a lot of folks have offered me spaces in their houses. I really appreciate all of your kindness and your generosity. That's incredibly kind of you. I just want to give you guys just a little bit more update on some of the details of what it is, of what the tour kind of looks like, and because I've had a lot of people ask. 4 basic themes from my perspective. You deserve to be heard. Voting is leverage. Local action beats online rage, and democracy is a habit. That's kind of the premise. So the route, and I think I talked about this a little bit more about where I want to go. Like, think about the circle, right? The circle starting in New England, heading west down through the Ohio River Valley, down to the to the Ozarks, Arkansas, Missouri, that particular area, and then east into Georgia, and then up the coast. 30 days, right? The idea, again, listening circles, small civil groups, small groups, depending on, I just coined it as a listening circle. I'm not even sure if that's what it is. Power talks with civic leaders, community partner events, libraries, union halls, churches, VFWs, community colleges, pop-up conversations, coffee shops, diners, parks, motorcycle shops, bowling alleys. I really don't care where it is. I have some goals. I actually have a bit of a new goal. I want to talk about the voter registration goal, because this whole push is to get more people involved, right? That's the entire, for me at least, that's the entire goal, to get more people involved in democracy. So I think I want to set a voter registration goal. The number I have in my head is 2,000 people. If we get 2,000 people to register to vote, I think that'd be successful. I'd like to have more than that, but I think that's a place to start. So morning times, a day would look like visit a local place like a diner or a senior center, community college, a union hall, whatever that might look like. Talk to people casually, just to have general conversations. I'm thinking about signage. I'm thinking about messaging. I don't want this to be considered political. I'm approaching it politically agnostic, because I want to talk about issues. I want to talk about why we aren't promoting a more balanced tax structure, or why we can't have health care, or why we can't have protections for marginalized communities. Am I coming out west? Yes, Sauce, I am. Just don't have enough time initially. It's a good question, though. So this 30 days in April, mid-April, will be like a proof of concept. If it works, then September up until Election Day would be round 2, and that would take me to swing states. Working class regions. Rural and small town America, swing state communities, historically marginalized communities, major cities. So New England would kind of focus on like small towns, schools, the opioid crisis, cost of living, rural disconnections. In the Ohio Valley, focus might be a little bit more on loss of manufacturing jobs, union history, distrust of institutions. These are just my thoughts. Obviously, there's a lot of crossover. In Appalachia, focus on the fact that nobody listens to us, economic decline, veterans, addiction recovery. In the Carolinas, faith communities, rural and urban divides, voting access, firearm violence, healthcare gaps. We know that there's a lot of, especially in the Southeast, there's a lot of healthcare deserts, especially for women's reproductive healthcare, all those kinds of things. Yeah, I am going to try it in a small town. Good call. Again, rules of the tour. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to listen. I'm not going to shame anyone for how they voted or if they stopped voting. That's in the past. I care more about your story than your party. And this is about participation, not perfection. So some of the things that I think I'm going to need a small PA with a speaker, a better mic setup, phone tripods. I've got a lapel mic. A couple people have reached out to me and say, hey, you should consider this. You should consider this. QR code linking people to voting registration, voter tools, a tour page, notebook release forms. It's at this point, it's just me, right? But I'm probably going to need a producer. I'm probably going to need something like that. I don't know what that looks like yet. Like a camera person, right? I don't know what that looks like yet. Trying to figure that out. Libraries, community colleges, union halls, VFWs, American Legions, churches, interfaith centers, volunteers, fire departments. DJ hype guy. Yeah, I do. So that's sort of the plan. So if you want to help us out, obviously we need funding, and you guys know me. I have a hard time asking for help, but I can't do this without you. I can't fund it myself. And the way I sort of see it, we have between 1,200 and 2,000 people in here every single day. So if you say it's 1,500, that's what, 3,000, like 4,500 people a week. If everybody gave $1 on occasion or $5, that would help us bang out our goal. So that's the plan. All right, that is the plan. And I'll keep updating you guys on this because I'm doing it. And like I said yesterday, in an emotional moment, this community means a lot to me, and I don't want to let you down. I am fueled by the conversations we have here. I wanted to turn this into if it turns into something bigger than just this 30-day tour, then even better. Because the spirit of do something is literally just about do something. It's got nothing to do with the tour. Doing something is doing something, period. Helping a neighbor, helping a friend, showing humanity still exists in spite of what we see every single day. So if you want to donate, you can use my Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. We're in discussion about whether a GoFundMe might be the better way to do it. We will be fully transparent with how we're spending our money. So 501c3, we should talk about that, but we're working on it. I want to thank Michelle for helping us get get us incorporated, get all those pieces. So more to come. You're going to hear me talking about it a lot because it's go time, as they say. So thank you all. I appreciate you guys. All right, back to the show. Yeah, we get that. Yeah, Venmo, we understand. So again, if you want to participate, if you want to donate, we'll track it. So that was $419. That's what we raised yesterday in one day. That's incredible. So days like that will help us get our goal real quick. Appreciate you all. Okay, let's visit the where is this here? I want to talk about the ACA because, as we know, the ACA subsidies are still caught up in the machine. It does not look like there's going to be. Where's the Venmo? It's at all of my various pay apps are all at Factsstillmatter. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You can find them the same. The links are in my bio. If you want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it. Thank you all very, very much. As a reminder, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, please consider subscribing to Twitch. We do have an Instagram page that we'll probably be tracking on. We're talking about a video blog series, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, but thank you all very, very much. So I want to talk about the ACA. And guess what? It's going to take me right back to Bitch Boy again. It looks like the ACA subsidy conversation is collapsing, as expected. Talks in Congress, this is from the Wall Street Journal, talks in Congress to restore or extend the ACA have largely broken down, meaning there's no deal imminent to reinstate the subsidies that have expired at the end of 2025. Keep in mind that part of the initial government shutdown back in October, and I still think that politically the strategy from the Democrats was the right one. I still think it was. I think more people are realizing that now because it put the burden squarely on Republicans to solve this issue, and they don't have a solution. They don't have one. I found I found a clip that I want to play for you guys that it's kind of funny and comical, but it talks about things in terms of what we've been discussing for a very long time, the lies that have been told to the American public about healthcare, in particular from Donald Trump. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I didn't think I was going to get to this today, but maybe I will. Is this the one? And then we're going to dunk on Scott Bessent for his fucking lies, because that was wild. What he had to try to scramble his way through. Let's see. Just give me a second here, guys. Everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Don't forget there's a gifting goal today. If you can help us hit that, that'd be fabulous. Did I not save it? You don't even need me to tell you. 10 years of it's going to come in 2 weeks, concepts of a plan. You know the deal. The House passed the extension measure. The Senate has been resisting. We know that there's not going to get any movement. Long story short, since the subsidies have expired, my subsidies have gone up $1,059. I have no choice because I need the more premium level services so that my daughter's oncology treatments are covered. She has them manually at this point, so I have but no choice. Not that I would, consider not having health insurance anyway, but that's the whole point. So enrollment is falling sharply. Preliminary figures show total ACA marketplace enrollment for 2026 dropped to about 23 million, roughly 1.2 million fewer, 1.2 million, hold on. Dog had sneaker. No. 1.2 million fewer people than in 2025, largely due to subsidy expiration and rising premiums. Premiums are rising fast. Market analysis and insurers report ACA premiums for 2026 up significantly, around 4 percentage points in many areas, because healthier people are expected to drop coverage now that the enhanced subsidies are gone. States like Missouri and Kansas, sorry Sam, saw double-digit percentage drops in signups after enhanced tax credits expired, with tens of thousands of people dropping marketplace plans or downgrading coverage. Providers are feeling the strain. This is from the Beacon. Clinics and hospitals, for example, in Illinois are preparing for fallout from subsidy expiration as more patients may be uninsured or underinsured. Affordability concerns, healthcare analysts point out that with subsidies gone, many households face near doubling of premiums, mine included, squeezing budgets and raising the uninsured rate. So these things are related, right? Because we're seeing a rise in bankruptcies. We're seeing a rise in just, we know the inflationary pressures. We know of tariffs being taxes. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But all these factors are forcing people to make decisions. Am I going to pay for my health insurance premium, or am I going to pay my mortgage? Am I going to pay for my ACA, the ACA minus a subsidy, or am I going to pay my rent? Or am I going to feed my kids? So what I thought I would do is talk about this in terms of the state-by-state breakdown, because you'll be surprised, said no one ever, the impacts on red states are significantly higher than they are on blue states. Missouri and Kansas, by the way, early federal data shows significant enrollment declines in these states for 2026 after enhanced subsidies expired. Tell me again, friends, who Missouri and Kansas vote for? Missouri saw enrollment fall by 12%, and Kansas saw its decline around 4%. Tens of thousands have opted out of the marketplace coverage or downgraded to cheaper plans due to higher premiums. Now, this part I'm going to take you through. This is from, let's see. This is from KFF, the Kaiser Family Foundation. Handful of states are stepping in with their own financial support to blunt the blow from the federal subsidy expiration, though none can fully replace all lost assistance programs. There's a very interesting breakdown of the states involved here, okay? Here are some of the most notable examples. New Mexico fully replaced the lost federal subsidies for 2026 using state funds, around $17 million, to protect coverage for its residents. Massachusetts invested a further $250 million in connector care. California allocated $190 million to fully replace subsidies. Maryland did the same. Colorado, Connecticut, Washington. What do all those states have in common? They're all blue states. How come I don't see the names of any red states on that list willing to fill the gap for their voters or their citizens? And understandingly, that I think the number is 78% of all ACA enrollees are in districts or are in states represented by Republicans in Congress, and 56% live in states that Donald Trump won, including Missouri and Kansas. So this is one of these things, right? This is one of these things where we have this clear political divide about priorities. Republican voters telling their people, we care about you. We are pro-life. We are so concerned about protecting women that we want to vote against less than 1% of the population. Okay. Okay. This then brings me to healthcare outcomes. We already know blue states need to take care of their own now, so they need to stop subsidizing red states. Yeah, Minnie. Give us our money back. According to America's Health Rankings and related analysis, these states consistently rank at the top for health outcomes, longevity, and healthcare performance. New Hampshire, I give it shit. but it is really ranked one of the healthiest states in the country. Massachusetts, high coverage rates, strong clinical care, excellent long-term outcomes. Vermont, strong outcomes across behaviors, environment, and low disease burden. Connecticut, Utah, Hawaii, Minnesota, Rhode Island, Colorado, and New Jersey. Of the top 10 states, 9 are traditionally blue. Highest and best health outcomes overall. Let's look at the other side. These states have the lowest or the poorest health outcomes. Louisiana, top of the list. Did I say something nice about New Hampshire? I kind of did, sort of. Louisiana, frequently identified as the least healthy state. Mississippi, very low life expectancy and high infant mortality, has declared public health emergencies over worsening conditions. West Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Alaska. Do you understand? Do people understand why we talk about this in the way that which we do? The reason that blue states have higher education output or higher healthcare output is because blue states decide that we want our states, our citizens to be better. And people say, oh yeah, taxes. Well, that's what you get when you appropriate your taxes properly. When you have a budget surplus, you can step in and defend against just fucking bullshit that comes down from the feds. Highest life expectancy states: Hawaii, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Lowest: Mississippi, West Virginia, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee. General welfare. I don't know what to say about that other than Mike Johnson, bitch boy, whose district is one of the highest in the country for participation in the ACA, whose state is every year, annually, one of the least healthy, one of the poorest, has one of the lowest rates of successful outcomes in pregnancy, has some of the highest rates of poverty, has some of the highest rates of infant mortality, is denying his own constituents insurance without a solution. Does anybody care? Does anybody in that state even recognize it? Does anyone give a shit? Anybody? You just going to sit there and just continue to deny it? And just say it's too expensive? Do you really want to be identified as the poorest state, the unhealthiest state, the state that has highest rates of crime? Because that tracks too. Shocker. Education level? Exactly, Hazy. It's all the same. It's always been the same. You just continue to drink the same fucking Kool-Aid year after year after year after year. Why? Why? Brown people? Is that the reason? Immigrants? You know? No purebreds here? Why? You're suffering because of your vote. You are suffering. You are told that no matter how bad things are, no matter how bad the economic conditions are, no matter how much you yourselves in your red states, you guys complain about people not pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, and yet here you are, the biggest recipients of government subsidies, whether it be through Medicaid programs, SNAP benefits. Here you are. People now want to talk about wage growth. You think the wages growing in Mississippi? Real wages? You think they're going up there? People are losing jobs, thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. And yet you sit here and you do the same thing every time the election comes around. You vote for the same people and they know that you're fucking laughing at them. They don't show up in your district. When they do, they get railed on A lot of you probably go and protest, and then all of a sudden, when the time comes to vote again, you do the same thing? What the fuck is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? I've said this a million times. You could have the brightest red hat, the Trump flag, climbing on the pterodactyl, all your swag. You could have shiny truck nuts. I could despise you politically, and I still want you to have health care. And I still want your kids to be able to eat. And I still want a living wage. And I still want a tax code that works to benefit you. And I'll never meet you. I don't care. But you do this to yourselves every single time. Iowa farmers losing their legacy, their generational family farms. And you're going to vote for it again? You give us no reason other than to lean into your racism. You don't like being called a racist, then don't fucking act like one. It's not that hard. It's sad, man. It's really sad. But we sit here with this shit. We sit here with the same party, the same party that is denying you health care coverage, the same party that is gutting your SNAP benefits, the same party that says you don't deserve to be on Medicaid, Medicare because you don't work enough. The same party that is taking your rights away are protecting people that are predators. It's all the same. 23 American citizens could make all this go away. 3 in the House, 20 in the Senate to get that fucking traitor out of the White House. Where are they? Okay. Okay. It's good to know. Good to know that you really have your priorities in order. So let's talk about, let's do one more little sound bite here. Jessica Tarloff, again, doing the work on when she sits on the 5 with Jesse Waters, and Jesse Waters is just a fucking moron. This is in conversations about the SAVE Act.
Hey, I'll do it. Well, I think you would have a Democrat who would say, let's do voter ID, but that's not actually what the SAVE Act is. So Jim Clyburn's talked about this, and he said, I'm for voter ID. I'm not for disproportionate voter ID. And what the SAVE Act does is that it requires that you either have your birth certificate or your passport, which is different than accepting a driver's license, for instance. And the reason for that,
I don't know if that's true.
It is true. Read the bill.
Okay, I will.
I'm sorry, that might hurt you.
And then tomorrow we'll have to correct it.
Well, I won't be here,
there's
so
no
you can give it to Harold.
There's no way this bill requires people to show up with their birth certificates. Then Barack couldn't register.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, there it is.
First of all.
We believe he's American.
It doesn't say.
Do you get the idea? Right. They're just going to lie to their voters. We know what it is. We've read about it. We know what it means. We know what it means. Okay. Let's play this little sound from Mr. Kasten, who is questioning Scott Bessent. This was fucking brilliant. And I have to wrap a little bit early today around 11:15. Capitalism. Scott Bessent's been getting dragged regularly because Scott Bessent cannot answer a question. So Mr. Kasten is questioning him about some statements that he's made previously, and I just want you to listen to how he answers this question.
One last thing, sir. I'm going to read you a quote. Trump will pursue a weak dollar policy rather than implementing tariffs. Tariffs are inflationary and would strengthen the dollar. Do you recognize that quote?
I believe you're referring to a letter that I wrote, and yes. Tariffs could be inflationary.
No, it says tariffs are inflationary.
Yep. You know what?
You had said to the chairwoman, I'd like to introduce into the record a January 31, 2024 letter from, quote, Scott Bessent and the Key Square team to your partners, where that quote comes from.
Without objection.
Do you want to correct what you said to the ranking member when you specifically said that you did not say tariffs are inflationary?
Well, I think she referenced a letter in the summer of something, not after.
No, I think you disparaged the New York Times.
Sorry?
You said tariffs are inflationary.
Sorry?
You said tariffs are inflationary. Do you want to correct what you said to the ranking member, or did you lie?
If I was mistaken, I want to correct it. And I was also mistaken when I said that tariffs could be inflationary, because
gentleman's time has expired.
I've seen inflation drop to 2.1.
Gentleman's time.
One last thing.
I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Come on. Tariffs are inflationary. Glitch. Thanks to Battlefield Boxing Ma. I spit out my coffee the first time I heard Steve Bannon say that, talking about the cloak. Thank you for the super chat donation on YouTube. I appreciate you very, very much. Okay, I've got a little bit more sound here to play. What is this? This is the same prayer. The same prayer breakfast. Mr. Trump is there standing behind the person that's about to say this. Here we go.
Without you, none of us can adjudicate the overwhelming details of leadership and life. Today we pray for America and we pray for all parliamentarians around the world. The book of Timothy teaches us that you've been entrusted with leadership. Today we pray for the future of this nation and that you would lead this president into greater levels of compassion for your name's sake. We pray that you would protect him from the iniquities of evil and that you would give him greater clarity, greater courage, and greater capacity to do what is right in the forever challenges.
Yeah, give him some clarity and some courage. That'd be fucking great.
Today we remind him that the lives of millions of people are in his hands and that he has the power to turn mourning into dancing or to reduce the country into a cosmic elegy of chaos and suffering.
I can't even listen to that. I just can't. I just can't listen to it. You gonna try to reform him? Good luck. Good luck. MK, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you there?
Bro, please 5 minutes from Syria.
Not today, sir.
Please 5.
I'm sorry, not today. Not today, sir. I'm sorry, not today. We do that a lot. I appreciate you, just not today. Good morning, friend. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm glad I saved the day from, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Oh my goodness, whoa. That previous person that came up. But yeah, I just kind of jumped on. I was getting some work done. I didn't know what today's topic was. I see redacted.
Yeah, redacted. That's, well, you know who that is. Redacted.
Well, yeah. And I saw just some things, particularly the one that Aaron Parnas, he highlighted with the former Prince Andrew. You know, here's the thing. If a monarchy from years past and all this time is pulling a title from a monarch, doesn't that tell you guys something? Like,
sure should.
I just, all I got to say, everybody, especially any abuse survivors in here, please protect your peace. This is very, very traumatizing. It's re-traumatizing for a lot of people, including myself. So just hang in there, and thank you again. I don't really have much to say today, but which is rarity for me. But I did speak with a law firm out in Philadelphia about my situation. I'm not going to go into it, but it's very real. And just please believe survivors. Please believe us.
Agreed.
Please.
Agreed.
That's what you can do.
It would be a lot easier if we just did. Thank you, Gen X.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Be safe. Take care. Yeah, that would be simple. If we could just start there, we could just start there. I was literally in a panel recently with some of the most vile people I have ever heard in my life on this app. And most were women basically saying, yeah, well, she shouldn't have been in there. She shouldn't have worn that. Basically saying that women, if you're in public, and if you go into a place that you shouldn't be, it's your fault that you get raped. Yeah. That's how far we've fallen. So this is a little bit more sound. That same interview by NBC. This is asking the president about Bill Clinton. Here you go.
The story today, I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many.
So listen to the beginning of this again about the question, right? He fucking makes everything about himself. It's fucking wild, man. Jesus Christ, this guy.
News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me.
The question was, Bill and Hillary have agreed to comply with a congressional subpoena and testify. That was the question. And then he said, well, if they can bring Bill Clinton in, what about bringing you in, sir? Because again, the right wants to, there are people in this app that are trying to tell you that the sitting president cannot be subpoenaed. That is absolutely not fucking true. Not true. Whether or not they would comply because of the separation of powers is one thing, right? But it is not true that you could not subpoena a sitting president to appear before Congress. Congress is the, well, used to be, is the oversight body in our government. Checks and balances, right? So again, the reporter says, hey, you know, Clinton's coming in. What about you? And again, listen to his response.
News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, you know, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many, many times.
What?
Many, many times.
And the president had some surprising thoughts about former President Bill Clinton.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
The question is, okay, again, the question asked of a malignant narcissist, what do you like about Bill Clinton? You ask the malignant narcissist, what do you like about Bill? Listen to this answer.
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. You know, he was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump when there were 18 people. It was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against Trump. Run against anyone. Don't run against Trump. And Hillary sort of laughed at him.
NBC News broke the story today.
Unfucking believable. It just goes to show you, right? People in our country and around the world are suffering because there's a malignant narcissist in the fucking White House who, as long as somebody glazes him, as long as he gets his, then it doesn't matter. I will just do whatever's asked of me. And the world leaders, the people that are taking advantage of this, know it. So they'll just glaze him. Nothing to see here. I'll just stroke that fucking ego and I'll do whatever's necessary. Whatever's necessary. You get Karl Rove, of all people. You get Karl Rove, who is infamously part of the Patriot Act. This guy is a hardcore conservative who's never met a controversy or a conspiracy theory that he doesn't like. He's recently being questioned on Fox News about tariff policy, about economics, about manufacturing jobs. And he himself is even like, yeah, we got a real fucking problem here. And nobody's talking about it. Well, he's gonna.
Talking about how they're working, he says, with the help of tariffs, we have cut the federal budget deficit by a staggering 27% in a single year.
That was the president's statement, and we know that's not true.
And even more incredibly, we have slashed our monthly trade deficit by an astonishing 77%, all with virtually no inflation, which everyone said could not be done. Now, Carl, we wait for a tariff decision from the Supreme Court. He does mention the court in this piece, too. It says he hopes they're paying attention, but he says for now, he's proving the haters wrong.
Yeah, well, the problem is we need to go back to essentials. Olivia put her finger on it. He's making the same mistake Joe Biden made. Bidenomics is working. That piece in the Wall Street Journal is the economy is great. That's not what people...
Oh, what happened? Oh, sorry about that.
With the help of tariffs, we have cut the federal budget deficit by a staggering 27% in a single year. And even more incredibly, we have slashed our monthly trade deficit by an astonishing 77%, all with virtually no inflation, which everyone said could not be done. Now, Carl, we wait for a tariff decision from the Supreme Court. He does mention the court in this piece, too. He does mention the court in this piece, too. It says he hopes they're paying attention, but he says for now, he's proving the haters wrong.
Yeah, well, the problem is we need to go back to essentials. Olivia put her finger on it. He's making the same mistake Joe Biden made. Bidenomics is working. That piece in the Wall Street Journal is the economy is great. That's not what people feel. Last year, we lost 70,000 manufacturing jobs. We lost 145,000 blue-collar jobs. There's a great deck put out today by the Washington consultant and prognosticator Bruce Millman. Blue-collar consumer confidence is at a record low since 1976 when they began asking the question. The top 20% of the American population is responsible for 75% of the GDP. The bottom 80% is responsible for 25% of the GDP. The lower income households households are bearing a bigger burden of inflation because the things that they have to pay for, like rent and utilities, have risen higher.
They're talking about how they're working.
So again, you get people that would never, ever normally question the economic policy coming from a Republican president, and here they are. Here they are. All of it. Just fucking all of it. Just ripping them apart, telling them, no, this shit's not working. You're lying to people. Come on. The burden falls on the people we've always thought. Good morning. How are you today? Sherbs, are you there? Okay. Mowing the lawn. Appreciate that. I just think that what we're seeing in, again, 23 courageous Americans, 3 in the House, 20 in the Senate, doesn't take much. The last bit of sound I'm going to play for you, and I have to wrap. Not feeling so hot, and I got a bunch of work I got to do. We're at this point, the live might get taken down when I play this, but I'm going to play it anyway. So Anthony Scaramucci does a podcast with what's her name? Can't think of her name. The BBC lady. Love her. Don't know. Can't think of her name. Anyway, we're talking about the connections, right? We started the show today discussing the financial connections in the, not Sarah Swisher, no, what's her name? I'll get it. Yes, Kepper, I agree. BBC reporter, what's her name? Blonde hair. It's gone. Katie K. Thank you. Yes. Caddy K. Exactly. Thank you, Deb. I don't give a shit. I'm going to play it anyway. This is Anthony Scaramucci talking with Caddy K, asking questions about the connections and whether or not Mr. Jeffrey was a Russian asset. Because I'd say yes. Either that or one for Mossad.
Fuck, where I'm going to get in trouble, but I don't care because it is my opinion. It's pretty clear from the documents that Epstein had a relationship with the Russians. I'm not going to go so far to say that he was an agent of Russia and he was running a pedophile ring to create compromise on all of the world's Western elites. I'm not going to go that far to say that.
But you are just going to say.
But I'm right on the edge, okay? Vladimir Putin is mentioned no less than 1,000 times. And there's insinuations in the file that Epstein had scheduled meetings with Putin and he had a relationship with Lavrov, the foreign minister. Now, I'm going to state candidly and for the record, there's no proof that Epstein ever met Putin. But the files do show something very troubling. Epstein claimed he had an appointment with Putin. It's right there in the emails. And then he later tried to position himself as a back channel to the Kremlin, again, right there in the emails. And he was trying to offer insight on U.S. leadership through Lavrov. It tells you that he wanted proximity to Russian power so that he could sell access, and it raises serious counterintelligence questions. So again, these are my opinions. This is my surmise, having delved into these documents over the weekend. But again, when the window's open and you hear clippity clop, it is a horse. It is not a zebra. This is where I'm going to.
So, yeah, I absolutely fucking believe that Jeffrey Epstein is connected to Israeli intelligence, including Mossad. And I also believe that Jeffrey Epstein is connected to Russian intelligence, namely Vladimir Putin and others. So there. Okay? Real quick, let me thank a few people for helping us on our way here. Let's see. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Amy. And thank you, Mike, for your contributions to our cause. We'll update our number tomorrow. Also wanted to thank a few people here. Also want to thank Pedro for your kindness. I appreciate you, Pedro. You're here a lot. Thank you very much for what you do to support our channel. Thank you, Jay. Your old Vermont is fake. Trump's a bitch. Thank you, RTP. Appreciate you, brother. He's probably going to be live in a little while. We have to end a little bit early today. Like I said, I'm not feeling so hot. I got a bunch of work to do. But thank you all for being here today. Thank you for navigating through us as we try to navigate the pitfalls that are apparently free speech. We'll be back tomorrow morning on the main account. If you don't follow me here, please consider following me here. Please consider following us on the YouTube channel. Also, please follow us on Twitch. Thank you all for joining us there. Thank you, mods. You guys are the fucking best. I love my mods, like literally love them. I love all of you. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock.